What's up, everybody? What's good, nerd man?
Yo, sorry, just got back. How you doing?
Doing great. Just give me a moment, guys. I am here. I have arrived, and I have a bone to pick with some people. Now, it's not these specific fans, but a lot of the spoilers I've seen on Twitter specifically have been coming from these fans and other people in general. You know, MCU people that hate DC stuff, or people that just hate superhero movies in general. But I all classify them under weirdo fans, weirdo DC fans that are supposed and are actively partaking in spreading spoilers of a movie, trashing it. And this is what is being. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's the post-credit scene. People are getting up in arms and butthurt over the post-credit scene of a movie. Now, Nerdman, let me ask you a question. When you're watching a movie, when does the movie end?
Well, when the credits roll, I guess. I mean,
as soon as the credits roll. To me, I know what the post-credit scene is. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I'm not going to spoil it.
I haven't. I managed to avoid it, even though I now have a kind of idea who's in it, which is annoying to me. But
I'll just say this. I'll just say this. That post-credit scene is nothing surprising. The ending is more surprising than the actual ending where it ends is more surprising. That post-credit scene to me is a nothing post-credit scene. It's like Spider-Man Homecoming, that Captain America post-credit scene where he's sitting on the chair and doing a little PA. He's talking to kids and stuff, encouraging them, like, you know, blah, 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 eat your veggies. It's just stupid shit. It's a post-credit scene. Like,
right.
And mind you, some of these fans, especially the Snyder fans, are getting on here and spreading around stuff saying, you know, we can't even talk about the tweet I just put out about, you know who.
Right.
You know, because it has to do with it too. But people, please just stop spoiling the Flash. If you're a fan of a certain thing, just stop spoiling stuff. Stop being malicious about spoiling these movies and ruining it for other people. Now, to be fair,
I'm did really the same shit with Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which is why I was telling you that everyone was criticizing Warner Brothers for putting out that thing that Gal Gadot is actually in the film, but it came out after there was just a bunch of stuff on Twitter about how it isn't Gal Gadot and and I think they got worried that people who would have turned up because Gal Gadot is in it, which I don't know why they were so worried about that, because I don't think I think after
because I knew it wasn't going to be some
her stock has gone a little bit down anyway. But maybe if she was in like a battle scene or something like that, it would have been different. But in any case, they responded and reacted to that by making sure everyone knew, no, it's actually Gal Gadot, and they shouldn't have done that. They should have never really, it was teased enough that anybody who was interested in, is Wonder Woman in this or not, would have been like, oh, it's not clear, but like, let's go and see why, right? So
man, I forgot to mention this too. There's a lot of humor in the Flash movie. There was some stuff I laughed at. It was like, it's not a comedy, but there's a lot of humor in the Flash movie that might be hit or miss for you. So just be worried. There's a lot of humor that could be hit or miss for you.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's a lot more than you would expect, but it's not.
I don't mind comedy. Like, I just think that comedy that has been in superhero movies of recent has been really cheap comedy. I don't think they're very good comedy writers, to be honest.
You want
Like
to know what they need to start doing? They need to start getting people like Dave Chappelle to come write their comedic moments in their movies.
yeah, something like that, but like and also I don't like
I'm being serious. They should
really
actually get stand-up comedians to come write their comedic
yeah.
moments in their movies in
Yeah,
general. Like
sure.
if you want to
I
have some
agree,
good
or at
comedy,
least get
go
them,
get
or
like
at least
actual
get their
comedians.
opinion, or at least get
Yeah,
their
get their
opinion
opinion.
before they put it out there. But like to me, the bigger issue
What's up, bro?
is that some of these characters don't fit this
Oh
comedy,
yeah.
comedy approach. Flash doesn't have to be comedy approach. It doesn't have to be as a character, but he
He can
historically
go
has had.
both. He can go both
He
ways.
can
He
go
can go
both
both
ways.
ways with it.
Shazam, I think most
He
of
can
the
go
time
both.
works best when there's a little bit of lightheartedness and a little bit of comedy to it, right?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, really, you can either have the camp version, which I don't think is the one that is best suited to audiences this day, or you can go the route that it's a little bit more serious and it deals with
I
mythology
would
and
say it.
all of that kind
I would say in that case it
of
depends. Like for Wonder Woman, right, with the camp route. If it was like a let's say a fun little Wonder Woman animated show, like a little fun anime series they want to do, and because it's like Batman Brave and the Bold, that TV show. Not sure if you've seen
yeah,
it, but that is like straight up campy It's a really good show,
mm,
but that is a campy Batman. That is pretty much
mm,
say bronze, silver age Batman. It's like silver age Batman ish.
Silver
Still
Age.
near golden age, but it's a lot of Adam West
It's more
influence
Silver Age,
in it.
yeah.
But it's like a mix between some modern and silver age Batman stuff.
Right,
And
right.
it's a
So
really good show.
it just depends on the character, but characters like Thor, characters like
Punisher.
tell me some MCU characters. Who are there? Well, Punisher, they didn't went the comedy
Punisher
route
should
was
always be
lucky,
serious.
but like what are some MCU characters? Think I can't even
Captain America.
Iron Man definitely. Iron Man, like Captain America, shouldn't really be doing the comedy stuff, but
right.
to their credit, they didn't really do that with.
Yeah, they
Captain
didn't. They
America.
didn't. But he's a character I
in
don't
the first
see
movie, there was a little bit of comedy there, but it wasn't him doing the comedy. But certainly for Hulk, right? you don't expect quips coming from Bruce Banner. There's no need for
right
Bruce Banner to be quipping. That's not what the character's about.
I mean, the only time I would expect that
it's bad where you're just, not only are the jokes not good, but it's clearly done for cynical reasons because you're like, oh, the audience liked Iron Man and they like Guardians of the Galaxy, so let's make everything like that. And I can't stand that approach to comic book movies. I don't mind comedy when it suits the character. Spider-Man, I've never complained about comedy in a Spider-Man.
I'm glad you brought up Hulk. I would accept comedy from Hulk, let's say in the MCU setting where actually, they gave him movies, which they didn't, which kind of did not help his development. But if we got to a point where Bruce Banner and Hulk finally accepted being one together, and Bruce is comfortable with who he is, and he is getting loved by the world, and Hulk is finally, changed, then I can see a Bruce Banner that's a little bit more mellow, fun, and chill. But a Bruce Banner who has no control over when he transforms, is struggling to keep his rage in check and his stress levels down. He should be stressed almost 24/7. There's gonna be little. There's to be little. There's to be little rainbows and sunshine in his life because he's always constantly trying to keep himself contained.
It should be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It should be like that. It's like a monster story of somebody trying to control the monster within. But in any case, like whatever, like that's fine. They've done that, but I'm not against comedy, and it's a huge. Like I love Kick-Ass. I love because the comedy is good in that. I like Iron Man because the comedy is good in that. Deadpool 2, I thought the comedy was good in that, so I enjoyed it. So and clearly, to make a Deadpool movie without humor is to go against the character, right? It's to, I would have the same problem I have the other way around, where they're making, characters that shouldn't really be dealing with comedy, making them comedy characters because, that's the trend, right? I would have the exact same problem the opposite way around, making, a comedy character be serious because, say like people are getting fed up of humor in superhero movies. I think that will be a betrayal of the character. So that's my kind of issue with that. So no problem with comedy whatsoever, and I certainly don't have a problem with the comedy in a Flash movie. I'm curious to see how I feel about the Flash movie. I'm trying not to get it spoiled. Everything I've heard so far, unless it's a really, really well executed what they've done, I do feel like everything I've heard like sounds a little bit underwhelming to me. But
I think at most you are going to like the story. You are gonna have you are gonna have issues with some of the visual effects and some of the jokes for sure. But not just because I don't think you just don't like jokes. But I know when there's too much that's like not good back to back jokes, it can start to become like, all right, can you stop it? These jokes have not been good. Like it's like when you watch Shazam in those first act, the jokes was not really hitting for you. It was kind of like
yeah,
like the jokes was very meh. It might be like that for you in some parts of the Flash.
yeah.
So
Okay,
I think
well, I
you will
mean,
like the
we'll
story.
see. We'll
I
see.
don't have
But
any doubt
I,
that
I
you'll
also
hate
I
the story.
also get the feeling that some of the reason that I'm feeling a little bit underwhelmed is because of how people are reporting it. Right? It's not actually the film itself. It's that people are purposely trying to like downplay what it is. Like, dude, it's not going to be multiverse. This movie that just came out, Across the Spider Verse. It really isn't going to be that, clearly, because that's animated.
It is.
You can't have
It
it
is
be that.
definitely. I mean, the
That would,
amount of cameos
yeah,
not on the same level at all.
right. So
Like less than I expected.
judging it in the light of that, as if like you know, on the surface, I don't care what anyone says. No Way Home was completely underwhelming. Completely. It was a dog shit story. The only thing good about it was just fan service. It
Oh, let me
purely just the fan service
let me
elements of
actually
it.
show you a tweet since you brought up No Way Home. You keep talking. I want to show you something because someone put
And
out a tweet.
so I'm just getting like any. I'll see. I mean, I'm not going to make this bolder statement until I see the film. But if what I suspect is true, and critics are being hypocritical and going, "Oh, Spider-Man: No Way Home was the best comic book movie since Endgame," which is ridiculous because Endgame wasn't even a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and it's the best movie since then. And now they're turning around and going, "Oh, but it just seems like they want a reason to criticize the DC movies. They just want a reason to criticize them." And
Yeah. Well, look at this tweet.
and then you've got this toxic asshole, and I've got to tell you, man, this fan base is. I hate them more than any fan base I've ever seen in my life. Now, like
Well, that's why it's a lot of
the
combinations.
Snyder fan base are delusional to such a degree, and it's too bad that we can't actually, because I don't want to spoil the film, that we can't talk about the specifics of what
That they're
they're
complaining
saying is
about.
their problem with
Yeah.
this spoiler.
Because I look, as a person like this movie, that was a nothing post credit scene to me. It doesn't hinder the movie, but that's not even the like it is nothing to get mad about. It's just you either like it or you don't. You keep it pushing. That's it. It is literally
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
if it was the end of the movie, the end before the credits, okay, I can kind of understand because that would be an underwhelming way to end a movie of of this type.
no,
That
but
was the
they're
credits.
specifically talking about how Snyder does
Oh
things
yeah, how he
in
handled that
comparison
specific character and
to
all that.
them, and it's such fundamental horse trash what they're
Yeah,
talking about. And this is coming from someone, again, I liked, because Snyder's legacy is this, right? He basically made, in my opinion, two good DC movies, or two good movies, maybe three. I'll give him three: the zombie movie, there's
Dawn of the Dead.
Watchmen, and then Zack Snyder's
Not gonna
Justice
give him
League.
300, at least 300. Gotta at
I
least give
don't,
him
I don't,
300.
I don't really. I mean, I'll try 300 again. I've tried it many times, but I don't see anything.
Oh,
It's complete style. I don't feel anything for the characters. Still, it seems like style over substance. The acting's good and whatever, but so. And in any case, three good movies. In between that, he's made between complete and utter incoherent messes of trash that
yeah.
are on the same level as, say, Wonder Woman 1984. You can't tell me what was that one that he made with all the girls or whatever. Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch is as bad as Wonder Woman 84, bro. Sucker Punch is worse than every single DCU movie. Every single one.
Sucker Punch was boring.
His
That shit was
his
boring as
latest
hell.
zombie movie is on the same level as Wonder Woman 84. Like it's terrible. He has been a terrible director in places, right? And so I'm like, your legacy is you made like these three good movies and you make great trailers. That's his legacy, because that's the one thing I'll give him in terms of trailers. Every single trailer he ever made for DC, I was like, whoa, this is going to be amazing. And maybe they were too amazing, the trailers, because they put expectations for the movie way higher than what the movies actually turned out to be. And that's even for movies I liked. Right. So
Well,
even
I mean,
movies like Yes,
could I really
which
give
I
them credit
like,
for the trailers? Because they have specific people that cut those trailers. I wouldn't say
I
I'm
get
not
it.
saying he
But
didn't cut the previous trailers
mhm.
because a lot of times, like, and remember, I mean, David F. Sandberg kind of confirmed it, and it makes sense. Remember when he said he couldn't, like, he didn't want to spoil Wonder Woman in the trailer, like, because that was not him. That was the people that specifically makes the trailers for them. So I'm not saying he didn't have any influence or talk or have more influence enough to get in there and say, hey, do this with the trailer. But it's kind of clear he didn't, because I know he didn't want to spoil Doomsday. I didn't like Doomsday and BVS, but I know for sure he did not want to spoil Doomsday like that for that
I
third
get what
trailer.
you're saying,
Yeah.
but the way he shoots movies, you can make those kind of trailers
Oh yeah,
from
yeah,
his
yeah, yeah,
movies
yeah.
because of the way he shoots them. You can make,
Subplane.
like, even say Shazam 1, right? Which I thought had a pretty good trailer. I think Shazam 2, looking back at it, had a better trailer than I thought. But certainly, like, in fact, all the early DC movies, even Wonder Woman 84 had like quite a banging trailer. There was something about the way DC were
Fire.
filming their those films, those early on films, that stylistically, I think they learnt a lot from Zack Snyder, that made the trailers really pop, right, and look like they were going to be these epic kind of cinema masterpieces. Some of them were, a lot of them weren't, right? We can agree
Yeah.
on a lot of them weren't. But in any case, the way he shoots movies, yeah, it's definitely, I'll give him that. Like, he makes some epic trailers, but the fan base of him are just completely delusional. They think that he was behind anything good in the DCU. So Wonder Woman, Aquaman. For some reason, he was
Yeah.
nothing to do with Shazam. There's
Aquaman
nothing
and
to do
Wonder
with
Woman
BVS.
one.
He was gone.
Aquaman and Wonder Woman 1 is what bothers me the most, just because Jack Snyder has story credit on Aquaman, I mean
Does he?
no
I
on
don't think
Wonder
he
Woman.
even has story
He has
credit on that.
executive producer credits on Aquaman, but he has executive producer credits on all these movies since he started these
Let's
iterations
just
of
bring
these
this up.
characters.
Let's just
But
bring this up. I want to see exactly what these movies he has executive producer on. I'm gonna bring this up
I can actually
because they're so full of shit, and they use this when you have to lie to make your point. That means you don't have a point, right? Okay, so let's go here. I'll share this with you. This piece of shit.
Well, are you looking at IMDb
Absolute
for his
fucking piece of
producer
shit.
credits?
So let's go by their argument on Zack Snyder, yeah? Right? So if he's an executive producer, he's responsible for the movie, according to Aquaman, right? According to their argument, because Aquaman made $1 billion and everything post Snyder is trash, right? Like and didn't make as much money, right? So
Right.
anything he's executive producer on is him. Okay, so let's go and look at his executive producer credits, right?
Because they still
credits.
give him credit for Aquaman, like heavy credit for Aquaman 1.
Okay, so let's look at the producer credits. The Suicide Squad, executive producer. That's James Gunn. Bombed, right? They don't like that movie. All right. I don't like that movie.
By the way, but continue.
Yeah. Look. Okay, we've got
he produced
Aquaman.
Wonder Woman 84.
Look here. Look what we've got here. Wonder Woman 84, produced by.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's definitely
exact same thing he has on Wonder Woman 1, by the way. I actually like Suicide Squad, but most people don't. Executive produced that. Yeah. So
300 Rise of an Empire. That movie sucked compared to the first one. Hey, look, if y'all seen Rise of an Empire, that movie is trash. He didn't direct it, but he he should have directed it.
So of the DCEU movies, Wonder Woman 1984, The Suicide Squad, all produced by him. So why are they not adding that to his litany of great things of how DC went down as soon as he stopped producing his movies and whatever?
Because what it does is going to destroy their argument. And look at it like this. Zack Snyder Justice did not come out until 2021. That's when his version of Aquaman came out. Joss Whedon's Justice 2017 is Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder's weird Frankenstein movie, but it got changed around a lot to be more like what Joss Whedon wanted it to be. Aquaman came out right after that movie. It was the first movie to come out after Justice League. Justice League had a $300 million budget. It ballooned and it failed and only made $600 million. Aquaman came out. James Wan is directing. Who wrote it? Are you looking at the Aquaman right now? Could you go to who wrote it?
Sorry.
It was writers with David Leslie, Will Bill, and Jeff Johns.
And Jeff Johns. Exactly.
I don't see no story credits for Snyder.
So look at that. This is beautiful. These are the guys. I'm going to look at the producers as well, right? So James Wan, writing credits, screenplay by this guy, screenplay by this guy, story by. This is the same
Jeff
thing
Johns.
They claimed for Wonder Woman. Remember, Wonder Woman is Zack Snyder's movie because he had a story by credit. Well, hey, look at this. So this movie that made over $1 billion, high grossed more than anything Zack Snyder's done, was Jeff Johns' story by. So by their logic, Jeff Johns is obviously just as much. He's more successful than Snyder.
Yeah, I mean, hey, suppose them Jeff Johns sucks. So by their logic, the movie they try to claim Aquaman should suck by their logic, since they hate Jeff Johns, he abused people and blah 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 and whatnot. But it's just silly. It's just silly when people want to pick and choose when to give the credit and take the credit. Look, I give
And
Zack Snyder credit for Man of Steel, BVS, and Zack Snyder Justice League.
well,
I
no.
don't give him more credit.
Nolan made Man of Steel. According to
Oh
their
yeah,
argument,
you're right.
Nolan
You're
made
right.
Man.
You're right. Because
It
he
wasn't
produced
because
it and he
if
wrote
Patty
some of it too.
Jenkins didn't make Wonder Woman, then Nolan made Man of Steel. I'm sorry,
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
right? But you're right. You give him credit. I give him credit for what he directed, right?
I
And I think he
look,
deserves a hell of a lot of
Nerdman.
credit for certain aspects of those movies.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nerdman, you know I hate Zack Snyder. Well, not hate. You know I dislike Zack Snyder Justice League. But Nerdman, I watched that the first time I watched that movie. If remember, it got leaked and released the day before. I watched it for free. Then the next day after that, I went on HBO Max and watched it again. And then someone did a watch party, and I watched the movie again. Even though I disliked the movie, I still made sure to support the movie even two more fucking times. You know, I dislike it, but I went ahead and still supported it. I still watched it. I wasn't not going to watch it. It's a DC movie, you know?
Hmm.
Shit, I watch freaking Birds of Prey. These
Right.
people in general, and mind you, you guys, this is the first ever live action Flash movie. This is not the first Flash movie of anime. This is the first live action Flash movie. This movie been in production hell since 2014. We finally got it, and people are just being ungrateful in general. I understand if you're a Flash fan and you wanted a more a Flash story that's a little bit lower scale, like Flash fighting Mirror Master or some shit. Okay, but you got finally got a fucking Flash movie. Now, this movie, if you are a Flash comic book fan, I'm telling you this now, you're gonna be happy with a lot of the comic book related stuff that is going to tap into and talk about and mention. Like mention, he's eh, it's not
No
even really a.
spoilers.
No,
No
it's not a.
spoilers. Just tell
Yeah,
me.
I don't.
I'll switch off. I'll switch
Yeah,
off the
I
thing,
don't.
volume, and then
No,
you
no,
can say it.
I don't want to. I don't want to because it's kind of it.
Let's get
I don't
back
want
on
to mention.
topic. Let's get
I
back
don't
on
want to
topic
mention. I
with
want
this
to say
Zack
for the
Snyder
people,
bullshit
there's so
and
much
his fan
comic
base.
book related Flash stuff that's in this, especially with his abilities and how they're utilized and stuff. Just like it's so much comic book stuff with Flash.
Right.
And
But-
Andy
mhm.
Muschietti, I gotta give him credit. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of Ezra Miller's version of Barry Allen, but the way he directed Barry Allen in this movie, this is what I wanted Barry Allen to be in the Justice League movie. This is
Mhm.
why I wanted Barry Allen to be. This was, yes, he still had his fidgety way of talking or whatever, but at the end of the day, he was Barry Allen. But the dynamic you had with younger Barry and the older Barry, that's a good freaking dynamic. A great dynamic that they had, which highlighted our Barry and how much he, you know,
Has
got better
matured.
as Flash. Like it's such a
Right.
great dynamic, and people are, and so far, Nerman, what I've seen, I just seen people really criticizing the visual effects. Now, I'll be honest with you, I strongly believe that these visual effects should have been a lot better. But if visual effects is the only issue people are having with this movie so far, then what else do they really hate about the movie? It's like with Across the Spider Verse. I barely have any issues with the movie. If I had one issue, I'd say maybe how Ben Riley was handled. But can I really say the movie's trash just because I dislike one thing from the movie? You know what I'm saying? Because
I
there's
get you.
if I only dislike one thing, I mean, is the movie really even that bad? Because I only seen people shitting on the visual effects heavily, and that's about it. Like, what else is bad about the movie besides the visual effects? Just saying.
I mean, look, I'm not. To me, that's. I'm interested in this discussion is just like this fan base and the delusional kind of myths that they have about Zack Snyder and his what he did in the DCU. So going back to the point of apparently Zack Snyder is responsible for every good movie or every movie that did well successfully in the box office, and you know, he basically, because he has a story credit on Wonder Woman, directed it, um, was the one who made it good. all of those kind of things, just from a story credit, right? So, and then they use Aquaman for some bizarre reason, even though we have seen from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and this is, let me make this very clear. Um, Zack Snyder's Justice League, I prefer some of the aspects of what he was doing with Aquaman more. Like I preferred the way they were doing Volko in in Zack Snyder's movie. I preferred the way Mera kind of, like held herself. Like I thought it seemed more like a princess, more like royalty. You know, I know some people had a problem with her accent, but I think it was only one scene where her accent really broke. I thought most of the time her accent was fine. Amber Heard is a piece of shit. You know, everything that
I
she
didn't
did in
dislike her as Mara in
Johnny
either
Depp,
movies. I
she's
liked her as
she's
Mara
an
in both
awful
movies.
human being. But
Yeah.
as I said, like I preferred her version of Mera in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I love the way she took on Steppenwolf, for instance. I thought that was dope. I preferred a lot of aspects of what I saw of the Aquaman that we were getting from the Justice League. The way it was darker, creepier, everything like that. And that was what James Wan initially wanted to do, right? Was this Zack Snyder version. Jeff Johns came along and actually changed it. That's why he's got a story by. He completely revamped the whole of Zack Snyder's plans for Aquaman and essentially made it much lighter, goofier, more of a swashbuckling adventure. Just the whole tone changed of that movie. And it's Jeff fucking Johns who did that, right? And you can see from Zack Snyder's Justice League, the story is even different. Did you notice that? How the story was different in Zack Snyder's Justice League of Aquaman and where he was at to what happened in the actual Aquaman movie?
Yeah, I mean, there's slight differences.
It was more than slight
I,
differences. The
I
whole
wouldn't say
thing
super
changed.
drastic, but slight.
Go back
But
and
I,
listen to that discussion he has with Volko, and go back and listen. Remember what what's her name says? Uh,
I mean, yeah, it is like okay
Mera. He
In
talks about
Justice
how like
2017, like in Justice 2017, Mara's parents are clearly not dead, and then we get to Zack Snyder Justice League, she straight up says, my parents died and your mother took me in, she took care of me, but like there's those
right.
drastic differences there.
Right, that's why. So that was what I was trying to remember. Like the whole backstory of Mera had changed, all of that.
Right.
So you can see that's where Zack Snyder was going with the movie. And quite frankly, I'm not trying to cap. I think that might have been a really good movie. I think Zack Snyder's sensibilities suit Aquaman more than it suits like something like Wonder Woman, right? Or Superman, right? I think Zack Snyder, the way he is, can suit a character like Aquaman, where you can take him dark and you can take him as like an anti-hero and stuff like that, rather than just have him be really goofy and play into the fish jokes like, oh, I'm a fish man or whatever. You can actually take Aquaman seriously and have him be like some badass warrior who just takes no names, right? He doesn't have to be a killer or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Like Aquaman
Yeah.
suits that. So I was interested in Zack Snyder's version, but the fact is, the movie that made $1 billion more,
Came
the
off the
movie that
back
is the
of Justice
highest
League.
grossing movie in DC, is a fucking Jeff Johns movie. It's not.
Right.
I don't know where they're getting it's a Zack Snyder movie from. It's a Jeff Johns and James Wan movie, and same thing with Wonder Woman. The whole leaps of logic that they use. I've even
Alan
presented them
Heinberg
with
wrote that
actual
movie. He
evidence.
gets the most credit. Yes, because anyone can pitch a story. I can go and pitch a story. I mean, I know how to write it out. Nerman can pitch a story. Ferdinand in the comments could go pitch a story to a studio. But can we write it? I give the writers more credit than the person who pitched the story. I can pitch, I want to do a Flash movie where Flash is fighting Mirror Master and Captain Cold and Gorilla Grodd in a warehouse, and the writer who writes that whole thing out and fleshes it out, they're the ones who get the most credit. They took this little
Right.
concept and fleshed it out into this big 2 hour and 25-minute movie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But never mind. I want to show you something real quick, and I think, and I always felt
Show
this
me.
way, and this why there's a bunch of fans in general, Snyder and MCU or whatever people want to call them, that have this weird bias going on. So this person dropped this tweet, the Moonlight Warrior. He said, "I'm not a conspiracy. Mind you, he also seen the movie. Let me make this clear. He's seen the movie early too. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's clear that there's an anti-DC bias. The fact that Flash's fan service is getting criticized while Spider-Man No Way Home was praised is the pure definition of hypocrisy. I'm at the point now where I seriously hate critics. Now, I'm going to show you another tweet that's related to this that really bothered me. Cause it bothered me. I responded to it, but
Yep.
now this person retweeted the tweet I just read to you. So look at this. Using Spider-Man characters in a Spider-Man movie versus using Batman and Superman characters in a Flash movie. Now, if you look at No Way Home, Doctor Strange is in the movie. He's the biggest reason that plot kicks off, and he is not a Spider-Man character.
No, I agree. Yeah, like they used like in every Spider-Man movie in the MCU.
Nick Fury is in Far From Home, and he's not a Spider-Man character.
Whatever, because Spider-Man's basically after the Amazing Spider-Man, his stock went really low after the Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? And it's only because he joined the MCU and he could like play around with MCU characters that he was popping off again, right?
But see, this right here is
this is what I'm saying. Like,
this right here is the hypocrisy shit I'm talking about.
Bullshit. That's what I'm talking about too. I always say this: MCU fans are full. Like, they're not as bad as Snyder fans. I've actually made the decision now. The MCU fans, like, I used to think they were as bad, but they're just more like
they are mindless
really
devils.
Proud. No, they're more just really proud of having average movies, and I'm like, okay, fine, you can be really super proud of that, but at least you're not like an asshole to me about it. But you're super proud of it. I don't get it. I would be, I prefer DC the way it is than if it was like the MCU up until about Infinity War.
Right? Oh, wait. Let me add this in too.
I would be really sad right now.
Nerman, let me add this in for you too. And everyone in these comments. When I say this, it's not me saying the Flash is bad. Do not really listen to people that are saying this is the next best movie since The Dark Knight. That doesn't mean the movie's bad. You can still be a good movie, but this is not the next best thing since The Dark Knight. It's like,
but neither is Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I don't even have this over. I don't have this over Superman 78. Just make it clear, I don't have it over Superman 78 or Superman 2. It can be up there, but is it over them? No. This is one of the better DCEU movies, though. It's like top 5 DCEU movie and maybe top 5, maybe top 7 DC movie in general. I'll say that top 7 DC movie in general,
which is good. But like, I never took any real attention to that. Like, I knew from the story.
I just wanted to warn you.
I just was like, that I wasn't hearing enough about like things that will like blow my mind. Like when I was hearing about the story. So I never took that seriously, like better than The Dark Knight. And I bet you any money I'm going to come away from this film. And please don't respond to this because I don't want any spoilers. Just don't even respond to it. Okay, Dots. I'm just going to say it. Um, this movie, I'm sure, would be better if it has Reverse Flash in it. I'm just sure of it. Just in my mind, without seeing the film, I think
Ugh.
it would reach another level if it had Reverse Flash in it. Somebody like Anthony Starr from whatever playing Reverse Flash. I just suspect this movie would hit another level. But don't respond to that, please, because anything you say will be a spoiler for me. Um,
Go ahead.
uh, that being said, yeah, like you go, man, you go.
Yeah, it's just stuff like this. Like you can't look. I will say this: Doctor Strange, even though getting beat up by math was stupid, he served a purpose in the plot of No Way Home. He didn't just pop up to say hi, Spider-Man, and leave. Yes, it was very dumb how the situation got set up for the multiverse to start falling apart, but he served in getting the plot started and going. Same as how Michael. And let me just say this: Michael Keaton Batman is absolutely supporting. The plot kicks off in Flash because of Barry Allen. Barry Allen, the main protagonist, the main character. Keaton is supporting. People forget what a supporting character is. They start. People have started putting cameos with supporting characters. Supporting characters is literally Jim Gordon in the Batman. He is a main supporting character of our protagonist, Batman, Bruce Wayne. Like that is exactly
And,
what Michael Keaton is, and same thing for Sasha Kali Supergirl.
and
They're supporting
I
characters.
bet you he works better in supporting than Doctor Strange. But I'm not gonna. I'll
Yes,
watch the movie and I'll see for
way
myself.
better. He's
But
way better. And not
and here's
and this is
another thing.
not.
Here's another thing
Yeah,
I'll say about the film. Why I was like, no way that it's gonna, like. There's just little things that I'm just like, surely you could have done this, right?
yeah.
Like for instance, having a Grant Gustin cameo. Please don't respond to that because I don't want any spoilers. But I suspect there are some missed opportunities like that
A gang of
would have
missed
made this
opportunities in general.
movie like a lot better. Um, from what I'm gathering. But so I might end up liking it because the Flash is my fourth favorite superhero. So I'm gonna go in watching it, and I'm probably just gonna eat it up like catnip and just not.
The way you
I
see
think
Ezra Miller
I'm
in this movie,
usually
nerd man,
pretty.
you
I think
gonna
I'm
be
usually
having a
pretty
field
objective.
day. Well, no, I'm gonna be having a field day because I'm everything I said that Andy fixed about Barry. You're gonna be like, dang, why'd he do that? Why didn't he keep him,
No, I'm not.
that way? Yeah, huh? Yeah, I won. I won. I got the Barry I wanted. You
I don't know what
lose.
you're talking about, bro. He was always that Barry. Anyway, we'll get into that
No,
later.
I'm just joking.
But we'll get into that. He was always that Barry from Zack Snyder's Justice League onwards. But
But I'll give him credit for
my
stepping
biggest
up.
thing
I'll give
now
him credit for
is
that.
like, here's the thing: if this movie doesn't do well, or if they because this fan base is just causing negativity around everything, surrounding this movie. They're always trying to highlight every single negative aspect to bring it down. I've never seen a fan base self-destruct to this degree where they're actually rooting against their own characters doing well in a cinematic space. And you know what? These critics who hate comic book movies that take themselves seriously, who hate comic book movies that actually try and be more than the sum of their parts, right? More than just like mindless entertainment. These critics who are like, championing the most average movies rather than challenging movies like The Joker or, stuff like that. They are going to take all of that negativity that our own fan base, the DC fan base, is actually giving
Mhm.
to the own movies, and they're going to use that. The MCU shills are going to use that, against this movie, right? When
Yeah.
factually, I know in my heart of hearts, before even seeing it, it's better than No Way Home. The reason I know that is because No Way Home ain't even a good movie. When you break it down, No Way Home, for instance, is like, you know,
I,
I'll even
I mean,
say I think
Ezra's a better actor than Tom as Spider-Man in No Way Home.
right. So I'll leave it at that.
Like I'm telling you, like
But I'll
Nerdman,
say
there's
this:
literally
this is why I'm telling you, DC needs to go Gun. I've looked at the plan again. Nothing against Gun. I think it was a good plan, but it was a good plan for 10 years ago. The plan he's got right now is not going to work. And what's going to happen is his Superman movie may do like average numbers at best, right? Um, Look, here's my prediction: Superman movie might do well, but I don't even know we're going to
I mean,
get
money
there
wise, what's your
because
prediction? What's your
because
money prediction?
here's the problem. I'll put money on this. Here's the problem: Blue Beetle and Aquaman, if they're bad movies, which just going off the trailer, and even if they're good movies, just going off the trailer of Blue Beetle, I don't think is making money. So that's gonna bomb. Flash, I hope it does well. Dude, I hope it makes over $1 billion. But this 72% on Rotten Tomatoes has hurt it. Even if it goes up to 85% next week, the fact that it's rested on 72% for,
Right.
it's in the initial viewing when people are like, oh, let's see what it's got. In that initial
But
time,
to be fair,
it's going to hurt the movie.
To be fair, Joker now it is in a separate universe, but Joker got 69% and did $1 billion without China. And that was 2019. Right now,
that's a completely different situation, though.
And but that's why. Well, that's why when all you guys see how the Flash ends, Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2, they can either go to the new universe or not. But for sure, if they fail, they can go bye-bye easily. Because we have seen it happen twice with Joker.
It's going to cost money to market those, unless they spend zero on marketing for both those movies, as I say, because they just take them as write-offs. But because there's contractual obligations for them to put them in cinema, right? Because if it were me, if those movies aren't good, I'll put them on HBO Max. I wouldn't even put them on HBO Max. I'll say, hey, CW, do you want an Aquaman movie? Do you want to, like, I swear to God, I would bury them under the dust so that the last thing people think of with DC is The Flash, because I think The Flash is probably a good movie, right?
But I mean, look, I'm not.
He's going to rebuild around those movies again. So that's the last taste they're going to have before the Superman movie, or before.
Well, see, I'm not. Well, see, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong in that this bad baggage could come over. I'm not saying you're wrong, but we have seen it happen twice so far. Right, mind you, these are with Batman properties, but the Joker and the Batman, they take place in separate universes, and those did very well. I mean, Joker did way better than the Batman in terms of money, but even the Batman itself received well. Joker but remember, Joker has some nonsense controversy because of the Aurora shooting and people just overreacting. But still, a well-loved movie in a separate universe. That's why when we talk about the end, you guys have to see how it ends. Because when I'm telling you, Gunn is safe with what he's doing. He is safe to do his plan because.
But he's still going to be thought of as DC. That's the problem.
Which
it's still going to be thought of as DC. Now, if he makes an epic trailer for that first Superman movie, and it's just like, it's sick, I can see, like, things coming. But remember, there's a writer's strike, there's director's strike. That's going to push the movie back even longer. So you've got years of, like, this stuff that, waiting in the thing. But finish your point, because I want to make a bigger point of where I think what this guy, what's his name, the owner of Warner Brothers, he needs to put a kapush to this stuff right now and make the safest bet right now. And I'm telling you, this is the safest bet. Like, finish your point, and I'll tell you what I think the safest bet is.
The thing is with the reboot, when I say James Gunn is safe, you guys trust me, he's safe to play around in his own playground, do whatever he needs to. But if keeping some people, the way the movie explains and sets up multiverse stuff, there is justified to keep some people, right? But what needs to go for sure, and Ezra Miller already proved this, you cannot market a movie with him. We have seen what they're doing. Now, he's on the posters, but they're not doing red carpet with this guy. All the Justice League people, and I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I hate that Henry Cavill got bad material and didn't really get nothing good to work with because he's not a bad dude. But all of them need to go because they are the pillars of the previous universe. Sure. Right? If you were to keep, let's say for example, you keep Viola Davis, Amanda Waller, how what is there? There's really nothing to hold on to. But if you keep Ezra Miller, you keep too much of that bad baggage. If you keep Jason,
no, I think I don't agree with you on that. I think Amanda Waller should go.
I mean, if she gets recast, I won't be mad at it. If she gets recast, it is what it is.
You're getting rid of all your actors. They're not in better positions than they started when they started with DC. That's not good. When you're an actor and you join a franchise, right? You either want to make loads and loads of money, so it doesn't even matter, right? Like, if you're not getting as many roles, or if you're like a serious actor where it's like you're doing this role for the sake of, okay, this will get me seen by a lot of directors, and maybe I'll get a lot of different, projects off the back of this, right? There are very few actors who've gone into DC that have come out on the other side like better off for it. In fact, many actors,
I say Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa
hurt their career. It hurt their career. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine are probably the only ones I can think of. Margot Robbie,
Jason Momoa, Jason
Momoa. That's true.
But those are the only two. Those are the only two.
Right.
Henry Cavill, I wouldn't say he completely, but he got Witcher, and Witcher.
Yeah, but he's worse off. You can't say he's not worse off, especially after the stunt they pulled off recently. Amy Adams was on a high. What's his name? The guy who played Jor-El.
Russell Crowe. No, not Russell
Crowe. He was. Russell Crowe was on the. If you remember, Russell Crowe was in every single fucking movie up until then. He was waiting for his franchise movie, right? This to really like blow up, and they fucked him up in this Superman movie, and it really stumbled his career. Same with Amy Adams, right? Like a lot of actors are coming out of DC looking worse off. So with Viola Davis, I would say, dude, let's make 3 great movies with you, Oscar movies, whatever you want to do, like offer her something, but I'll get rid of her too. You need to start a whole thing again, and like somehow maybe later on in the line, like explain plans to them where you can bring them back in a crisis event or something like that. But for right now, we need to like reboot. But again, the only issue I have with that is that no actor's going to want to work with DC and Warner Brothers anymore. None of them.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say.
Not for the DC movies, maybe for other stuff, but not for the DC movies.
Look at all the audition people auditioning for that Superman role. They going for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, pick out
do you know who's auditioning? No name actors, bro.
Which is fine. That's good. Get some no names.
Fine, but who are you gonna have in the supporting roles to prop up the thing, to make it like, like we've got a no name actor, but guess who's the villain, man? We've got like this guy playing, like some serious, kind of actor playing the villain. If you don't
Well,
have that,
but all these good hits you get of casting calls is showing us some engagement of people wanting to take this on.
yeah. Look, I'm not
Now, some
saying
of the actors that have been picked, I have not seen their work, but from the looks of who's being chosen, they got some Clark Kent looks to them. I'll just say that. I haven't seen a lot of the people that people recommending. I've not seen their shows or movies yet, but I do like the interest and engagement these casting calls is getting with the Superman role.
Yeah, and I like
And
the
I'd
I
honestly
like the
prefer
guy for
a no name.
Brainiac. Did you see that? The
Say it again.
Skarsgård guy for Brainiac. They wanted the guy who played
I
the
didn't.
Pennyworth in It.
Pennywise.
They want him for Brainiac. Apparently, if that's true, that's good stuff. That's good casting, young, exciting casting, that kind of
I
thing.
didn't see that one get rumored.
Oh, that's rumored. They want him for the Pennywise, the guy who played Pennywise, basically for that.
I mean,
But
I think he's gonna pick. I think he's gonna pick a good cast of people. I think he's gonna pick out a good cast of people. One thing I'll say about the Superman movie, he needs to get that Superman and Lois relationship like correct.
Yeah. Okay. So
That's one thing. That dynamic got to be really good.
Here's my thing. So do you know what? Like I was gonna say before.
Oh, go ahead.
I said it a little bit yesterday, but it doesn't have to be the thing I talked about. DC's next two projects, right? They have to do something that the MCU and no other superhero movie has done before. They need to put out two back-to-back projects that are so exciting, that are so mind-blowing in terms of I've never seen. This isn't just Superman versus Brainiac, or whatever. Like this, and I'm not talking about multiverse stuff because that's been done now. They need to do something straight out like that is gonna bring fans no matter what. They won't be able to help themselves, and they need to keep that project completely under the manners so that you see none of the stuff that is rumored or is exciting about it. Right?
I mean, Blue Beetle has that. I don't know about Aquaman 2 yet. Blue Beetle has that. Because look at it like this. Look at it like this. Look at it like this. What draws people to Miles Morales Spider-Man?
There's a bunch of other Spider-Man in it or whatever.
No, his Spider-Man specific. And we have to be really honest about this. He's not a bad character, but what really pulls certain people to Miles Morales Spider-Man?
I don't know.
The aspect of him being a young black Spider-Man and Puerto Rican too.
I don't think so. I think that helps.
I guarantee you that's
with the black.
Yeah, because there's a lot of young people that are growing up with that specific Spider-Man now. Even look at Black Panther 1. Let's be honest about it. What was the biggest draw of Black Panther? I mean, look at the audience it pulled in. It pulled out a lot of black people that usually don't go and support a lot of black movies as frequent and really get them to do big box office numbers. I think Black Panther is the only film with a large majority black cast that has the highest grossing in general. I think it's the only one, 1.3 billion. Now it's made by Marvel. It's not a black owned, but it's a lot of black people that came together to make that project and bring it about, and it drawed in a lot of black people. And let's be real, a lot of black, and there's nothing wrong with being proud to support a black project. For Blue Beetle, I'm not saying it's going to be like the Black Panther of Hispanic superhero movies, but this is really the first Hispanic comic book superhero movie to kind of exist.
That's not new. That's done. It's look. They've done Asian. They've done.
Zorro doesn't count. Don't bring up Zorro. He doesn't count her, man.
That's done. That's done, bro. So what I'm trying to say is,
that's a tentative. Unlike,
here's what they're doing. And I understand. It makes sense. They're doing what the MCU did years ago. They're doing like their little tentative steps. Oh, let's put 100 million there. 100 million there, 100 million there, you know. But with 100 million, we're not going to have the VFX team that we need to make everything seamless, because they put like 150 something million into this Flash movie, and the VFX isn't up to snuff, as you're saying. You know, which, if their VFX ain't up to snuff for that Superman movie, people are gonna criticize the shit out of it, right? Because it's DC. If Marvel did it, MCU did it, it's fine. Because it's DC, they'll go, the whole movie's
I mean,
garbage because of it, right?
but you got James
So
Gunn
just
doing
just
it.
just give
I
me a
have no
second.
issues with visual
Give me one
effects.
second just to take you through this. 100 million here, 100 million there. Let's do gold, you know, boost the gold. Let's set up the places of our universe. It ain't gonna fly anymore. Not in this landscape. They need to do something massive. Like, and I think they need to just bite the buck, do a $200 million movie. $200 million movies will be better and more affordable. You know, still plan out your universe, but just go off the confidence that if you do these $200 million movies, that people, if the concept or idea is good enough, that people are going to go for it, right? It's better than spreading out. You know, so you're doing 10 movies that are going to cost you $1 billion, and and many of them are going to be flops, right? The Authority, all of this business, right? What was it? Swamp Thing, right? 50 million here, 100 million there. This, do a movie like this. I'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Do a movie where you throw the Mortal Kombat characters in with the DC characters, and you keep it under wraps. Like you send out little what do you call it, to journalists, like certain journalists or whatever,
Little
so
leaks
that
and stuff. Yeah.
it builds up the thing of like, oh, I think they're doing it. It's going to be the first like crossover where, like, for some reason these characters end up interacting, right?
Right.
I'm not. There was
I mean,
actually a
that's not
good
a bad
reason
idea.
for them
That's
to,
not a bad idea at all.
you know, that no one can, you know, anyone who's a geek will not be able to resist that.
Right.
Snyder fans or not, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. A concept like that, where it's just so mind-bogglingly different that, you know, and then just don't let any, don't, if Scorpion's going to be the one that's in it, don't let any image out of him, don't let anything be seen about him, how it's going to be, and make sure it is tight when you see it in the cinema. That's, or, you know, as I told you before, like, this, my idea of doing a Green Lantern with Avatar style technology, but a tight script,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. That's what you need to do. This stuff they're talking about, I'm telling you, I think it's not. It's a good idea for 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Right now, with what's happening and what I'm seeing, and what people are criticizing about these superhero movies,
But see, well, that's why I'm not disagreeing, but like the position they're in, because look, this shit been fucked up since, let's go back early 2000s. Well, no, what? Let's go back to Batman and Robin, all the way back then. Warner Bros. May have came out with some stuff in between that might, the Nolan trilogy, but Just Immortal, they could have done a Jussie movie, dropped it. Superman Returns, while not many people liked it, made more money than Batman Begins. They dropped it. They're not doing a sequel. Then you get to Green Lantern 2011, failed. It was supposed to start the DC universe, and they went to Man of Steel. That was to start the DC universe. Had a very mixed response. BVS came out, fucked everything. It's like, look, I want James Gunn. I hope they're successful, but I'm giving them a chance because it's not really is new management. It's not really their fault with the position they're stuck in. I mean, they gotta do something. They gotta do something.
this is,
They got to,
you see. Mhm, mhm,
because I
mhm.
because I really look. I really blame a bunch of the management of Warner Brothers in these past couple years that been delaying, like Justly Mortal, hugest missed opportunity. You could have had a Justice movie out before Avengers. But since all this stuff is out, to be fair, just put out a good movie. Just put out a good movie. Put out a good consistent movie. People are gonna make their comparisons regardless, and they can if they want. Just like people make comparisons with Flash and No Way Home, just because they both are multiverse movies. One is obviously better, The Flash, but people can make their comparisons all they want. But with The Flash, I will say this: the visual effects being the way they are is not going to help its case. But if the story, I hope people really receive that story well. If that story
they will
is
crucify it like this.
oh yeah, they are. I already know they're
They
gonna
will
crucify hell
crucify
out of
it
it.
for just having a flaw. For having a singular flaw is too much. One
Yeah,
scene or two scenes. You know, we were having this discussion with this guy about Shazam: Fury of the Gods. That film is being criticized for not being a masterpiece. That's
right.
basically what the film was criticized for not being a masterpiece. That it's not even allowed to not be a masterpiece. It's just good. Well, good's good, isn't it? Like I don't.
Right.
It's just good. Like as if that's like a bad thing. Like a movie. Like
What's
not every movie has to be,
a
like
masterpiece? As long as it's good,
Oscar
that's fine. You want stuff to be good.
level. Right. It's like
Well,
the
and that's
MCU
why
certainly doesn't even hit the margin of good most of the. So I
right.
don't know what where we're going with this, right? Like every movie has to be
That's
like,
why when you mention, like, for example, I do want to see stuff like Mortal Kombat versus DC. I think that'd be something that would throw all of us off. It do be something interesting. But I even think doing a Swamp Thing led movie is very different. That's that's just as risky, in my opinion, of like doing a Joker led movie. That's just because I do not read Swamp Thing like that. I know what type of character he is, but like even me, if you pitch to me, let's do a Swamp Thing movie, I'm like, can I really do with this? But if the movie ends up being really good and it's a Swamp Thing led movie, because who's taking a risk doing a Swamp Thing led movie? You know,
I just think James Mangold could be used for better stuff in the DC.
what
Like
that's why I say it.
you know what James Mangold would be really good at? Fucking Batman and Brave and the Bold. Imagine that. Use Mangold for that, and use Machete coming off the Flash. Like
I mean, Muschietti
something
would
like
make more
that.
sense for a Swamp Thing because that's horror. Well, okay, let me say this.
I
Let me
don't
ask.
think
Let me
I don't
ask
think
this.
Swamp Thing should even be in the picture. I think Swamp Thing, they did a good show. If you want to go and watch a good take on Swamp Thing, go and watch that show. It was one season long. It was a good show. Nobody watched it. Put that in if you want to do a movie continuation of that show
To
or
be fair,
whatever you want to
they
do.
did
Put it on
cancel it.
HBO
To
Max.
be fair, they did cancel it and kill the momentum of it. People
Right,
watched it, but
I get
they
it.
canceled that shit because it was too expensive. I don't know why they filmed it like
Look,
that, but
do
you know
Swamp
they
Thing
killed their
versus
own momentum with that.
and I don't look. Anyway, I need to go to the toilet quickly, but there was
Well,
something I
look,
was going to
let
say.
me just say this. Like I get because mind you,
Say
this whole
you
plan
were going to say
in my now most of the projects we got right. All these projects. Let me break this down to you guys. The current projects we got right now, this 8 to 10 year plan, which I'm for. Look at the MCU's 8 to 10 year plan. I mean, they threw in a Guardians movie randomly in there. Now, the Guardians made a lot of sense for the Infinity Stones related stuff because Gamora and the Guardians, their connection to Thanos. But that's not something you would throw in there, right? Because the MCU barely had any characters and they had to take a risk. DC is going to have to take that risk too. They're going to have to take the risk and they're going to have to commit. Just same thing the MCU did. Take the risk and commit. Now, I've always had more higher expectations of DC in general. That's why when we had Batman vs Superman stuff, I was really shocked. Like they really dropped the ball because we know y'all can do better than this. You guys made The Dark Knight. Y'all made Batman 89. You made Superman 1 and 2. What happened? DC is going to have to take the risk and commit. Just because they slightly mess up on one, they can't just abandon ship, because the MCU didn't get to where it's at by abandoning ship. They may have tweaked some stuff, but they never truly abandoned ship on stuff. So I like the slate. I'm fine with the slate. I'm getting my Superman up in there. We have not seen the full slate either. It's an 8 to 10 year slate. We're getting Superman in it. All the characters that I want to see lead starting off leading it. But DC has to take the risk and they have to commit. The biggest thing is committing. Because if they're not committed, even the plan they brought to us is not going to work. But they have to take the risk too, because the MCU took the risk.
I think they should commit to James Gunn's plan to a certain degree, at least commit to James Gunn being in charge, and they can kind of they could twist it or whatever and say, but I'm just looking at the way things are going, and I'm looking at that schedule that he had, and I'm like, is that competitive?
Yeah, I agree, bro.
Really? See, Nerdman points typical standard comic book movie like.
That's why when y'all watch, you guys, The Flash is not even that typical comic book movie. It is not that.
Like, I don't think Fury of the Gods is a typical comic. I don't know what people are talking about. I think it's just because it's DC, and they want to find some reason to criticize it. And I'm saying we have to make or DC has to make uncriticizable comic book movies from here on in. Like, they really can't afford to make $100 million movie with iffy CGI, for instance. If you make $100 million movie that isn't of a character like like what's his name? Dead. No, why am I having Deadpool in my mind? Deathstroke, right? You could do $100 million Deathstroke movie. You could do $100 million Swamp Thing movie, and it will look tight. But if you do a Superman movie for $100 million, $120 million, it's not going to look tight. Because you need the VFX to be absolutely seamless with certain characters. Right?
Well, that's why, and that's why when you brought up real quick with the James, the VFX for me, I'm not worried about for Superman Legacy, because we've seen Guardians 3. A lot of Guardians 3, and it was reported that movie, that's the first movie to use the most practical effects out of any movie to exist right now. It used the most practical effects ever.
And how much was the budget, bro?
It was like what?
That budget was over 150 million to, I think it was 200 million.
Which I guarantee they're gonna give Superman Legacy movie that budget. They're not gonna give it a shitty budget.
And that would be a waste, because it's just Superman. And that's not a guarantee.
Superman, believe it or not, needs that budget. Like, if we're talking Swamp Thing, I'm not gonna give Swamp Thing like 250 million. You can give him, honestly, you give Swamp Thing 100 million. That's safe.
You realize Zack Snyder's Man of Steel cost about 200 million, right?
But that was a badly written movie that sucked.
Whatever.
Visually, it looked great, but if the story was written well, I guarantee people would like that movie more.
There's no way they give that 200 million like for that.
To James Gunn, don't give it.
They're iffy on Superman, and they don't have any money. That's what you don't understand, and they're going to lose more on Aquaman 2, and they're going to lose more.
This is not Netflix. This is Warner Brothers. They got money now. If they keep putting out these movies that are super, big budget, and there could be losing money. But remember, they got a game division, their anime department, their movie department, streaming and stuff. They got money. They're not Netflix, who's like broke and struggling just to keep subscribers.
Thank you.
But they got to give Superman Legacy that budget, regardless. It's Superman. Because look, if they want to prove to us that they truly care about Superman, they got to give him all the respect. He needs to be marketed like this Flash movie. If Superman Legacy is not marketed like this Flash movie, I can't have faith in it, really. If it's not, because this Flash movie is the first time since Wonder Woman 2017 I'll say Aquaman. Since Aquaman, a DC movie heavily like promoted. promoted to the max. It's
Yeah,
the first time in a while since a DC movie's been promoted and they had some faith in it like
may I
this.
have faith in it.
But they needed, but even in, you know me, I was pissed off when they didn't have any faith in Shazam. I get it. They just wanted to throw it to the fire. But then it was like, why? Because, you know, you're not throwing Aquaman to the fire. You're not throwing Blue Beetle to the fire. Why throw Shazam? That's the thing that pissed me off. Like, why throw Shazam to the fire? That made literally no sense.
You know, the thing with that, I guarantee Shazam Fury of the Gods is better than Blue Beetle. I don't know
Nah,
if it will be better than Aquaman 2. I don't know if it will be better than Aquaman 2.
I think Shazam should
Um,
have a better story arc. I think Aquaman 2 should just play off of being a really good action movie.
I, honestly, the
It
thing
should
with
just
me
stick to
about
being a good action movie.
the
That's it.
thing with me about Shazam 2 now is that it's not that I understand why it did so badly. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at the market of superhero movies and specifically the audiences. Because look at like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was less well received than Shazam 2 in terms of, you know, what people thought of it. I think it even has a lower RT score, right? That still made
Well,
400
well,
million,
yeah. That's
right?
because then
Worldwide.
yeah, that's because then we seen with the Ant-Man franchise, and I think this is very telling of certain movies because when Ant-Man 1 came out, what they made 500 something, it was like 600. Then Ant-Man 2 came out, it made 100 million less. I just think in general, you know, Jonathan Majors was not bad, but they
No,
set
it
him up
wasn't.
they set him up sandwiching him with Ant-Man that barely gets any engagement at all. Doctor Strange gets more engagement than Ant-Man, and that was a poor way for them to just start. I thought that was silly, you know, because you know me, I was saying like, why do you have Scotland Ant-Man fighting Kane? What is this? This is ridiculous. Now, if this was Hank Pym Ant-Man fighting Kane, okay, I'm for this concept. This is cool, but they shot themselves in the foot. But you know me, I'm
Well,
happy
no,
that
no,
movie.
no, no, no. But, the point I'm making is that even a less well received MCU movie makes at least 400 million. So Shazam 2, it just goes to show to me that they needed to be, even though I think it's a good movie, they needed to
Yeah,
be way more ambitious with Shazam 2. They
I can
needed
agree.
to not take, like, they needed to make it competitive in the market. And perhaps, you know, if it had have come out, you know, before COVID, for instance, I think it would have done pretty well. I think it would have made at least like 500 million. I think it would have had good reviews. I don't think people would have been going, oh, this is a generic piece of, you know, whatever. But unfortunately, with everything that happened, no fault to the filmmaker, no fault to anything, the best bet was to have just gone, if we're making Shazam 2, let's
Makes
make
sense.
Shazam 2 and let's like get them going into these different worlds or whatever. Let's like make it like a Harry Potter meets superhero movie and like make it
Right,
big
something
and
more ambitious.
bombastic and no shame, you know, like, so I
Yeah,
think
that's
that would
why,
have been tested.
and that's why I don't disagree because that's why it really depends on what you guys think about the Flash movie. Andy is doing a lot of experimenting with this movie. There's a lot of experimenting going on. Now, it's some of it is to the point where I'm like, you kind of experimented a little bit too much. You shouldn't be experimenting so much. But you're going to see some clear experimenting that I thought was very stylistic. Like, there's some very stylistic choices, especially with how he handled Barry's abilities. Like, there's literally a portion where I was like, wow, that was an interesting way to direct that and even visually show that because I thought it was okay. And it has to do with mainly the science of how Barry's powers get broken down in this movie because it was done so well. But I really that when you see it, I want to ask you about that. What do you think about Andy experimenting? Because I'm not sure how many of Andy's movies you've seen, but this is probably the most
I've
this is
seen
probably
it,
the most
and
experience.
I didn't love it, to be honest, as much as other people did. I like the stuff with the kids, but everything with the clown just wasn't really scary or whatever. Hey Arkham, peace. Hey Tony, peace. I've seen you saying what up and everything like that, and hopefully we can go through the comments and stuff. Like, but
I would say
um,
this about Fury of Gods. Like I think it's a good movie, but I don't think it's played safe or anything like that. It's more of the villains that people have a problem with. It's like
I wouldn't
is
say it
it?
was a villain. It was really the Billy Batson. What I seen criticized the most was the Billy the
I'll explain what I mean
the
by the villains.
okay.
So
no,
what I
go
mean by
on,
the
Arkham.
villains
I agree with
is
Arkham here.
it's not like the villains were bad, but
Yeah.
they didn't gravitate towards you really that much. Like they felt like some people called it very the characters a little generic and stuff like that. I could under because some people I could understand um a 70-year-old character going against the Shazam character. Like it's not like unique. Like I could understand that. It didn't like when certain villains where they gravitate towards you a lot. Like
Yeah, but
I don't
that's
know.
not really an excuse, Arkham, considering the MCU's track record of like villains. I just think
Like you
like
understand what I
okay, they
mean.
had
I'm not
one
saying
good
it's a
villain.
bad movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but like
No. But here's I agree with you on this aspect that in terms of like the so the villains in the movie were very, very cartoony and one dimensional. But I think
yeah,
they were done like that on purpose to be like some of the early golden age Shazam comics. I don't think that was some just like, oh, we're just gonna make it, because they were good. It
yeah,
wasn't like Helen Mirren wasn't playing it well or
yeah,
Lucy Liu wasn't playing it well. I thought that their reason for doing everything was completely in line with how the comics would be. It just seemed like one of those one-off storylines in the golden age of Shazam, where
yeah,
he faces like some weird gods who want to take his powers or whatever, right?
yeah,
So I
Right.
thought, you know, people don't understand that about Shazam,
yeah,
because quite frankly, DC doesn't market that character properly. They don't have like an animated show that people could go, oh, I see what they're doing. Like it's like that.
That's one thing
Um,
they need to start doing again, animated shows, because believe it or not, I mean, that's what really helped out Batman a lot. Get more
it's
exposure and
what
get
helps
people
out
to
Spider-Man as well.
Spider-Man 2, even Superman. Like, one of my favorite adaptations of Superman is Superman the animated series Superman.
Mm, But Arkham, sorry, just to say what I'm saying is like the, the they could have been able to do that style of villain with
yeah,
Shazam, where it does feel like the golden age, but just make them a little bit like deconstruct them and make them a little bit smarter and a little bit more innovative.
yeah.
Anyway,
I
you know
agree.
what I'm saying? They could have got
Yeah,
away
I
with
understand
both.
what you're saying. I'm not
Well,
saying
and
that.
that's why another aspect I think would have helped. It's little, but I'm telling you, this would have definitely helped it. The action could have improved like by a lot, like a lot. Not saying the action was bad, but it was like, because you need that for some of these movies. You got to have more action packed stuff. Not saying it needs to be an action movie, but the action the best action scene was Billy versus the Dragon. It was very
I do have
emotional.
one
Cool
criticism.
win,
I
but
do have
the action could have been something a little bit more, because you got to get
yeah.
these numbnuts into the theaters.
There's this one criticism, like two criticisms I do have about it is if I have to be honest, I did like the ending where he goes against the dragon and everything like that and beats this stuff. But if I have to be honest, I think it would have been more impactful if they um I could agree with some people that they could have kept Billy dead and maybe have Miss Marvel or something like that. You understand what I mean? Because when he comes back, it doesn't feel as impactful with his sacrifice. You understand what I mean?
You mean like they could have saved the Wonder Woman scene like to saving Billy till like something else, or made it a part one? Or the what the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the best thing it's done is making it part one of two.
Yeah,
That was a sick idea. Whoever came up with
yeah.
that
Like
idea,
I feel like the Wonder Woman
he's
thing
got his
kind of.
finger on the pulse. It's that kind of risk taking that they need to do with these films, because remember, we're in a generation of people who are into these like series, like movie, like
TV and
Netflix,
stuff. Yeah.
like they're used to that kind of consumption
Yeah,
of things. So you can make your film a little bit more complicated than your average screenplay by making it two parts and leaving it on a cliffhanger. And audiences are,
yeah. I feel like
they've been
it
trained
stopping
to.
right him stopping right after the dragon. I feel like that would have been a good ending part, to be honest. Because it's what I didn't like the Wonder Woman stuff. I really didn't think it had to be in there, to be honest. It's like um, I could
I
agree
didn't
with
mind it, to be honest. But
like
I
when
didn't
you
mind it,
find
but I can see that it didn't have to be there, but I didn't mind it. But I
um
agree with you that it really didn't have to be there. I can
and
go both ways with you.
Mary Marvel needed to be I wanted her to have more of a part her like she had a part, but there were certain
She
things
should
that
have
were
been more co-captain.
yeah, because like she the actress talks about like there were certain scenes cut that focused on like her having a night job and everything like that. I kind of wanted to see that explored of her juggling being a superhero and also um
but to
working.
be fair to the director David Sandberg, the scenes I've seen, the cut scenes, don't need to be there. Like they even the scene of her going to this party, it would have given a little bit more depth to the character, but not enough to justify putting a whole 5 minute scene in with
True.
of that. I wish he'd do a director's cut, to be fair, but like he doesn't want to
Yeah.
do that, even though.
I like Mary Marvel. Like she's very cool.
But
If you read her comics, like she has a limited series comics, it's very good.
yeah,
Like she's
yeah.
um
I've been reading that as actually, but what I was just saying is just like what they needed to do is have more character development in general of all those characters and made it
yeah
meaningful. Like you've got a thing where you've got. I felt the heart of it. I don't know why other people claim they didn't. I feel like they didn't want to, but that's just my theory. But like, since they were playing off that Billy not calling Rosa the foster mum,
yeah
they could have had some scene with him and the mum.
yeah. I
So
agree,
when it
and
drops,
I
like it
I
would have
kind of
been more
feel like
impactful.
certain characters, the Shazam characters, certain of them didn't really feel like they had that much of a part, like there as well. It's like and I agree with Billy Batson. It's like the Shazam and Billy Batson. It's like they're like that was my main problem. Also, it's like um you see Billy Batson like more serious than the adult version, and it's like it's very weird. Like the
It's
Zachary Levi.
weird, but it doesn't. I don't think it makes the film that much less entertaining. They're both entertaining performances. I like Zachary Levi. There's little things he does that I just that are like, maybe I wouldn't have had him do that. But
Yeah,
in
true.
general, I think he's funny. I think he's charming. I think when he gets serious, he's actually serious and quite heartfelt. I thought the line he delivered of like, I'm Captain Every, or I'm Captain Every Power Junior, and don't you forget it. I thought that was fantastic. All of that stuff with him, and I thought Billy was good. I wish
Yeah.
we had a little bit more of him, but I thought he was actually good in both movies. Um, they aren't so different from each other
I'm not
that
saying they're
I'm like
extremely different, but like
they
the
they just
tone.
not, they just didn't align up to be like, oh well I'm gonna move and have the same cadence and do the same thing, but personality and attitude wise, I still see the
Yeah, I could agree. Yeah.
similarities between them, right? Like they have the same attitude towards what's going on in their life, right? Like, um, Zachary's like scared of losing his family. It's clear Billy's scared of losing his family, right? They're both like, oh, everybody's got to come to the meeting, and
No.
you see that the attitude is the same. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could like, I can see you taking like 1 mark, even 2 marks out of 10 from
Yeah.
the movie from it, but taking like 5, like
Oh,
saying it's
I
so
wouldn't go that
terrible.
far. I
It's
wouldn't
so
go.
terrible. I'm going to take 4 marks off the movie, 3 marks. It's like it's just two entertaining performances that would have maybe
It's
been
not.
better if
It's like
they aligned
it's a
more
very
a
it's
bit.
a very good movie. Like there's certain things like I might nitpick, but overall it was a very good movie.
But we're talking about something. We've been talking about Shazam for the last thing, and we're not even supposed to be talking about that.
Um,
I
Wait,
wanted
real
to know
quick.
what
Let
you
me
thought
real
of.
quick. Let me get the
Arkham.
Tony's comment.
Yeah.
Let me comment on this. Tony, I hope they show more. Well, I hope they show Mortal Kombat 1 and DBZ Tenkaichi 4 footage. I hope they show that to
DBZ, what's
Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
Tenkai.
I'm sorry. I hate Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
You're an anime hater
Before
in general. Go ahead, Nerdman.
No, before I go, I wanted to ask, what do you think of what I'm saying about like? I think really DC.
I think it's both DC and
Looking at what
Marvel.
happened. Look, you didn't even hear my question, Arkham. But okay.
I know what you're gonna say, like the spectacle and like with Khan's story. I could agree. Like you can see in also with I don't I could guarantee you with this, Miss Marvel's not gonna be well received as well. Like I um the Marvels, you know the one
Yeah,
that like I think
I
it's
don't
both.
think it's going to be well received either.
I think it's both Marvel. I think it's both Marvel and DC. I think they have people like see that the stories are just not spectacle or whatever like unique or anything like that. People are gonna say that, and I think I think what James Gunn does have to do with like the future going on, and I could agree with this. Do refresh and take, um, refresh and take, and Marvel has to do this also because like they're uh, people are criticizing because it just feels all because like all people think all superhero movies are the same. I feel like there has to be some kind of unique twist to superhero movies. I'm not saying they're. I'm not saying if you make a good and simple superhero movie, I'm not saying that's bad, but a lot of people just want pizzazz or like unique stuff now. It's like um a lot of people's expectations are high with when it comes to superhero movies now, and they want something.
In other words, they're entitled douchebags who,
Yeah,
like nobody asks that of action movies or horror movies or anything like that. Like it's cool when you get a horror movie that is like, whoa, that's like such a cool concept and idea, and the way they executed it is like a masterpiece. It's cool when you get that movie, but you don't expect that like of every single
yeah.
fucking movie. And if
Like for
it
me,
isn't
I just
that,
want a good
if it
movie.
isn't that,
Like
then you're gonna like, you're gonna like completely roast it. Do you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That's
Yeah, I
ridiculous to me.
understand.
You
Like,
know?
I don't want this
Um,
with people's perception with superheroes in general. I like for me, I just want a good movie. That's all I care about. Like, like if the movie's good, that I'm good. Like, if I like the movie, I'm happy. But like, it's just people nowadays just want spectacular everything to be very spectacular with
yeah,
superhero movies
I'm not
now.
saying this is. By the way, everything I was saying about doing a Mortal Kombat with DC movie, that's not because that's what I want.
Yeah,
I could just do with just a Superman versus Brainiac movie. I'd love that. Like
Or you
Superman
could
takes
do
on
like
Brainiac. Good movie. Like
um
I would take a
I don't know
seven
who the
point
villain
out of
is.
10 movie. But
I don't know
I'm
who
just
the
saying, like,
villain is.
to me, it's not just quickly, Arkham. To me,
Uh,
it's not that I need this spectacular shit. I'm
Other people
saying
need
it
it.
is what these entitled
People.
movie like critics and all of that. That's what they need
Yeah.
right now. And because they're trying to hurt these movies, DC needs to catch up and work out, like, is it worth taking these tepid little steps? What I'm saying is, fine, do a Superman movie, do it amazing. If you want to do Superman and the Batman and the Authority first, that get a hook that
Who
is
would you want
just
as a villain with Superman? Like I know some people said Parasite, like because we never seen Parasite in live action. Um, not well done technically. Or
Lobo, Brainiac, or well, say Brainiac for the second. Honestly, build up Brainiac with Superman and Supergirl, since you're doing Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and then
yeah.
Superman 2, like Superman's Legacy second movie. Then you
Or
get
you
the
could do
Brainiac.
Metallo. You could do Metallo, um,
well, my
maybe
my thing.
or
I
maybe
don't really
Livewire.
care who the villain is. I think the villain just has to. I think the movie itself has to just do a lot of risks to it for it to be accepted. There has to be real, like, if you're gonna make it like super cartoony and like with crypto and throw in, like, you need to do stuff where Superman like literally visits Brainiac's square planet or something like that. Like visuals that will like blow people's minds. That's what you need for this movie for it to work.
This is why I'm liking the concept of the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie. That's completely in space. Ain't gonna be no
Yeah,
shit on Earth. It's in space. She's gonna be seeing like space creatures and stuff, and that's
You have to
that's
read.
uh
You have to read the
that's
comics.
something I really that's something that's like very different for Superman type of content, because most Superman content is on Earth, is about his love for humanity, which isn't bad. You always gotta have that, but what kind of would be cool to see a Superman legacy take place in space, or
yeah,
take
yeah,
place on multiple planets, or Superman
yeah.
going out there across the universe helping people on other planets, while also protecting Earth too, because that Superman does get to that point where he's helping other people besides just Earth.
He
Yeah,
like
That's why
he
I'm excited for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. That concept.
yeah, and I
mm,
think a lot of the concept that's been revealed, like because only a tiny bit has been revealed for chapter one. We don't
Yeah, they
know.
didn't put out the full
Um,
plan.
I think the ones that he's shown. I think a lot they will like it. Like the authority is very interesting and very unique in characters because it's like you can think people use this as you can kind of think of it as similar to the boys or shit like that. Technically, like they're like super, like they're not like they're technically superheroes, but they're like they'll do whatever it takes, and
Anti
it's like
heroes.
and like even Superman went against the authorities
I think it's
themselves.
boring. I think it's boring, and I don't think it's gonna work. They're new characters. Nobody has any investment in them. They could have
Yeah,
done the same concept. I like do a TV show about them. Fine. I get what you're saying. I haven't read the comics. I don't have any investment in them. I'm sure they're amazing. This movie, right? Like they still have time right now to like do something like Watchmen, bring back the original cast of the Watchmen. That's going to get Zack Snyder fans on board as well, maybe, if anything can satisfy them.
they would
Like,
only bring
I would end
bring
that into that movie.
Watchmen into like do Doomsday Clock, like where like Superman, like that
I
whole
would only bring
story
back the
centered around
Watchmen if
Superman.
it
You could do
has a
the
part
first
in.
Superman movie where the second half of that movie, the twist is that or the big villain reveal or whatever is that somehow Brainiac's fucked with the timeline and like has been able to bring in the Watchmen universe, and that's who's fucking with Superman. You know, like they need to think out the box with this stuff right now. That's all I'm saying, and do stuff that will really like excite and thrill everyone. I don't think the simplistic, you know, it's hard for me to explain. I know that what you're saying, Arkham, all of this authority stuff and whatever, I think it was good for a different time. I don't think that stuff is great as like the villain for Superman. Authority, who are they? Who are
No,
the
they're
authority
not
to
like
most people?
the villain. Like they went against Superman, but like in the comics, they also work together. Like in the recent last year War World, he gathered the team because they take any because Superman is not willing to kill. We all know that, and they're that type of team that willing to do whatever it takes. And in the War World comic where Superman's trapped, um, it's not really Mongo, but it's like Mongo's son, and he's more ruthless and everything. And they have to get all out. They have to save all the people that are they're trapped. It's like they have more depth, and more depth of characters. I would
Yeah,
suggest.
I get that, but like, do you really think that's gonna make more money than a Superman, where like you end up having like the twist at the end? Like it could even be the post-credit scenes, is the Watchmen, like Brainiac realizes after being defeated by Superman, even with all his intelligence and whatever, like that he needs another being that is on Superman's level, and then he searches like the multiverse, and then he finds Dr. Manhattan, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna get Dr. Manhattan on like Superman, you know, like, and that's
I
how you
wouldn't say
bring like the Watchmen kind of thing into it. It's like you
when it
have to
comes to
think
the
out the box
Watchmen,
with
I
this
wouldn't
stuff.
say it. Like I would say that you wouldn't do the Watchmen right now because I don't think that's what they want to plan with. I think they will have a plan for the Watchmen eventually down the road, but I don't think like in when this first part, like when they're starting
I don't think they have a plan for the Watchmen at all. I really don't.
like
Uh, you think they have a plan for introducing the Watchmen into the
anything's
DCU?
possible. I don't know the behind the scenes, but I know James Gunn has like this plan. Like Peter Safran and James Gunn probably has
Yeah,
like anything's possible. We don't know what because they haven't announced everything. And it's not gonna be like Kevin Feige where he like announces like the whole slate, like because like I would
Well,
at this time that would be bad.
yeah, and that's why Feige fucks himself over, leaks the whole damn slate. All
can
right,
we
guys,
can
it's
we
the
can
full
we
plan. No
can we bring
surprises.
up James Gunn's slate again? Just because I was impressed by it at first, but then I'm now seeing how things are going, and I'm like looking at how things are going. I'm not sure about this. Like, I'm not.
Well, I'll say real quick. I'm hoping the rumor, yeah, I seen is going around the Superman versus the Authorities movie. I hope that's true.
Yeah.
I really hope that's true.
Oh, I think it is going to be Superman versus the Authority, but I don't think. I mean, that
Well, for
Authority
the
movie.
Authority movie or like a own movie, do you think the
Yeah,
Authority movie is Superman versus them, or it's like the Authorities versus someone else?
No, I just think
it's
it's going to
probably
be the
gonna be
Authority
Authority
movie.
versus someone else. Um,
Yeah.
I
But
would
I
say,
think the Superman versus Authority movie is going to happen in this slate, but like after Superman Legacy and the Authority movie. I don't think it's
yeah,
going to
I
be in the
think the
probably.
Authority
Authority.
fight.
I think the Authority movie is going to be basically the Authority, probably race bent, where one of the gay guys is black. Um, you know, probably the less powerful one, right? The Superman one will be white. The Batman one will be black.
I got the picture
Um,
You mean
and it's gonna
oh,
be
this is the
like
breakdown of
trying
the
to
slate.
be like the boys, It will be trying to be like the boys, but it's not going to be like the boys because the boys is like, unless they get the actual writers for the boys to write this shit, which that could be a hook.
Oh,
All right, let's go through this. This looked really. The reason I was okay with this at first, and I've got to go after this, but the reason I was okay with this slate at first is because I thought, you know what, it doesn't matter because I think people, like you said, like
Oh,
if you make the good movies, people will give it a chance.
yeah, we just
people just want good, consistent movies. Because look, DC, and I don't. It's going to happen. It's happening with Star Wars, happening with Marvel. You honestly got to get to a point where you have earned enough respect that you finally get MCU type of fans or your Star Wars type of fans that will flock to your shit for anything. Even if you put out some shit, they come back. Yay! Dangling keys in front of their faces. You want at some point want to get that. You want to dangle the keys in front of the audience, and they just come. They don't have that. They can't dangle the keys in front of people. They need to get to that point.
Let's just break this down. Creature Commandos, nothing. It doesn't matter. Even if it's got a little bit of an audience on HBO Max, what is that? Like, no one's going to give a shit about that. It might tell us a little bit of story beats of what the DCU is going to be.
Unless it's marketed properly. It's not marketed properly, nobody's not going to care.
It's going to be a James Gunn comedy. You realize that, right? It's a James Gunn comedy, right? So let's just take off the ones that are going to be James Gunn comedies, okay? So James Gunn comedy is going to be Creature Commandos, Waller, The Authority, Booster Gold, definitely. So you've got like 4 James Gunn comedies there, right? I think one of them might.
But we have Booster Gold fits that.
Hit a chord.
Here's the thing.
But one of those might hit a chord, like the Guardians of the Galaxy did. Not all 4 of them. Not all 4 are going to be like, oh, James Gunn.
I think Booster Gold, if he does do it, that's for sure going to be hit. Waller, you got Viola Davis leading. I think it's going to be a better TV show that's well received than Creature Commandos because you got Viola Davis leading it.
You've got Viola Davis leading it in a comedy.
And mind you, it's also live action too, and this is animated, so people don't gravitate to animation like they do live action.
Right, they've ruined Waller's character, right?
They didn't ruin Waller. She was tied up in the Suicide Squad.
Okay, go on, Arkham.
She was tied up in the Suicide Squad, nerd man.
Yeah, I know. I interrupted Arkham. Sorry, go on, Arkham.
I would say I agree with K Dots. Like Creature Commandos, if it's marketing well and strong marketing, people will watch it. This is gonna be the first DCU animation project, and I'm very interested how that's gonna go because a lot of people have been asked if this goes very well, you can get other like superhero animations, like maybe you'll get Wonder Woman animation, like there's possibility. And Waller, Waller, I could agree. Like Waller, that's live action. That's probably gonna be based on one of her stories, and I think it probably is where she hunts down the what was it the previous Suicide Squad members, like because they kind of betrayed her. And Superman Legacy, I think that's the focal point. That's like when he means the start of the universe. I think it's where things start kicking off. Like if that makes sense.
And I'm now confident having watched.
Creature Commandos is officially the start.
Yeah. But Superman Legacy is going to be the one that people care about. I'm now confident, having watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that at least it's going to be well received. I might not like it. It's going to be well received. and I think actually I would bet on it being a good movie, right? Like personally, if I were to bet like one way or the other, I still don't like his Guardians of the Galaxy tone for a Superman movie. I just think he'd be better suited somewhere else, even with how good I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is. But if he made a movie that was even on the same level as Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with Superman, that's a good
No,
movie.
I
No,
don't think. No,
James
No,
isn't
I'm not
directing.
saying on the same level. I'm talking about
no,
quality,
no, no.
not
I
on the
was
same
answering. I
level
was
as
answering
tone.
his comment.
With
He was
right
asking.
comment.
He was asking if Brave Rainbow will have any comedy. I don't think so.
Nah.
No,
Mm,
no,
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so
so.
either.
It's
You can do comedy Batman on a animated TV show. Don't do it in live action again. You
Okay,
can have some
but
jokes. There's nothing wrong with jokes, but no comedy Batman in live
but
action.
here's the problem with Superman Legacy. Like where I think there's going to be an issue there, unless the MCU does a bunch of shit right in the next couple of years, because they've got movies coming out while Superman will be in production, right?
yeah.
And it's going to take
Yeah.
some time. We're now looking what's 2023. We're now looking at
Yep.
2026, 27 for a release date for this movie now, especially
Uh,
because of the writers, directors strike, everything like that. We're looking 2027, 26,
like
even
Superman
though they said
Legacy could
25.
still come out. That could Superman Legacy still can
I
come out, but the other ones like Waller, Paradise Lost, Brave and the Ball, Booster Gold, Supergirl, Woman Tomorrow, Green Lanterns, Authority, Swamp Thing. None
those
of them.
definitely get pushed
Uh,
back if the
all of
writers.
Those are
those
getting
are get
pushed.
yeah, all of them are getting pushed because of um they're not written. Creature
Right.
Commandos, Creature Creature Commandos, and Superman Legacy are the only ones that are written.
Same for
Right.
Waller too.
So
And
we're,
same
we're
for
talking
War.
about we're talking about 26 with the
Yeah,
director's strike now, right? Talking
Well,
26.
no. Well, that's why it depends. This strike, if it goes more than the last strike went for 100 days. The next strike maybe it might go for 150 days. Who knows, right? Because it wasn't as long as I thought it was the last one, but it depends. At most, I think this might get pushed back by a couple months in 2025.
yeah.
Okay.
That's it. I'm not saying 2026 because I don't think the strike is gonna last long because the script is already written. The thing is,
The good
they
thing,
can't really
the good
rewrite
thing
the
about this
script.
way is he never gave any of the. The only one he gave a
All right, I've
specific.
got to go, guys.
All right,
Okay,
But
see
sorry.
ya.
Peace.
it's all good. We'll still
It's
be here.
I'll
okay.
listen.
Okay, see ya.
Peace out, nerd man. Be safe.
I would say this is one thing smart decision James Gunn made. He only gave one project a specific release date.
Yes.
That's a smart move. That's where Marvel faults. They gave release dates, actual dates. That's where they fucked up because
Mhm.
this is where he never really so when those get pushed back, Marvel has to actually push them back because they all gave them dates. That's a good business move in my opinion because now because of this writing strike, uh, there's only one he announced with the date. I think that was a very smart move. Don't you think that?
Well, just one release date so far. Because, well, mind you, the best things about this slate, and we just said it earlier, him not revealing the whole thing, giving us pieces, but revealing some big figures. Like for the
And
most
also
part,
variety. Like I have to disagree with Nerman about like authority. I think that is like gonna be a very dark kind of movie because the authority is
yeah,
like your anti-heroes but very dark and they will they're very dark but also they do whatever is necessary more than
right.
the heroes were.
But I think what's gonna take it a step because I don't disagree with you. I agree with you. I think the authorities. with what they are, if they really play on their authorities, teaming up with the Justice League type of film in the future of this slate, which I think would
Yeah.
be a really good dynamic. These people that are absolute heroes that have rules, they're very strict with what they do. And you have them teaming up with maybe the authorities and the way they're dealing with maybe I don't know a brainiac or something or a threat, maybe a Mongol, and they're constantly butting, at odds with each other about how to go about this, and you
And each
separate them
character and each character have
and
their
real
own
quick,
unique powers as well. Like
yeah,
what's his name? Moon after what was his name? Okay, Moon Knighter. He's like a very he's similar he's similar to Batman, but he has enhanced more but he has enhanced abilities. But he differentiate from Batman. I could understand why people think he's similar, but he has like enhanced abilities compared to Batman, where Batman is actually human.
right.
And like
But,
what makes
but
this
I think what's really going to seal the deal is that that's why I hope the rumor is true about Superman versus the Authority happening after, well, in this slate, but after the Authorities and Superman Legacy. That's going to be really freaking good
yeah,
if they do
I
that. You
agree with
build up
that.
the Authority, then Superman, who's this absolute, this at this absolute peak of good and nobility and all that, fights this team that they're not exactly villains, but they also want to do good out there too. But they're going to do it in a very aggressive and malicious way that does not look good to a lot of people. Like they'll have good intentions, but they're just going to come off. It's like Miguel in into the Across the Spider Verse. He wasn't really bad, but the way he acted, I mean, that's not of Spider-Man to act like that. All that aggressive stuff he's doing with Miles.
I think the reason why
But
he did that is because it's like I could understand Miguel's um reason is because it's like if you break enough cannons, that can destroy the whole freaking Spider
right.
Verse.
Well, yeah, I don't think Miguel's bad, but just the way the aggressive way he acted was like, dang, you look, he looks crazy. But I don't think his reasoning was bad for what he was doing. I don't think he's a villain yet. He could be a villain in the next movie. Who
Oh
knows? But
yeah,
we
he
don't know.
could.
We
but
don't
like,
know yet. He could be.
but I'm gonna say this: like, if Creature's Commandos, I think Creature Commandos is gonna be very good. The animation, like, I feel like this is gonna be seal the deal with DCU animation, and this and like we all know the Wonder Woman is going to get a anime show coming from
Right.
James Gunn. He already confirmed that. He says he's in talks of doing that. So like this is I feel like the future of Bryce is for both live action and DC animation and also games. Like he even talks about games like that he wants to bring a lot of characters that haven't gotten games as well. Like hearing that like even as like I play games a lot, that makes me very excited as a DC fan.
Right. And I did want to ask a question because I did ask this bringing up the Nerd Man. I think this would be very different, and they should do it. They should play on it because it's absolutely different for superhero movies in general.
Yeah,
I think Swamp Thing should be a complete horror movie.
I agree. I totally
I
agree.
think it should absolutely like not say you can't have Swamp Thing be like a protagonist and hero of the story, but it should be an absolute horror movie. Like
He's a horror type
how many horror
character.
superhero movies exist? None. They have scary moments, but there's no horror superhero movie that exists that I know of.
I
Not
would
even the Ghost Rider one was a horror movie.
even if they did Justice League Dark, in my opinion, if they did Justice League Dark project, I would want that to be horror type of movie as well. Or if they did show, because like Swamp
I
Thing,
wouldn't say horror, but very gothic, a very gothic type of very gothic and spooky type of movie, but not
yeah,
a
I
complete
would,
horror.
yeah. But I totally agree with Swamp Thing. It fits his character. He's very
Yeah.
like even in the comics, it's like very dark and everything like that. It's like I feel like it fits Swamp Thing to be a horror type of movie. Like and it will differentiate. Like the one thing I like about this way is you have a variety. You have a
Yes.
variety of everything. Like you have Paradise Lost, you have Creature Commandos, Waller, Brave and the Bold, Legacy, Booster Go. Like I never thought of Booster Go would get a freaking show. Like in my opinion, never thought that. Lantern, Supergirl, Authority, Swamp Thing. I think this
I
is a
really hope I really hope Paradise Lost is going to. I really think it should approach the as James Gunn said, like a Game of Thrones type of show. Like I think it should be a very gritty and not dark, but like a very gritty uh Game of Thrones type of TV show, you know, with
I
the
agree.
nudity and everything
Yeah,
involved
you
in
want to see that, don't you?
twist. No, the nudity, but twist. Because one thing about Game of Thrones was the twist and the dialogue that really elevated that
Yeah.
TV show. It was
And
never
this
really
is
the
gonna
action,
be
but the dialogue.
Themyscira, and it's gonna go like it's gonna be focused on that. And I do think this, like, this is just me. I'm not sure if this will happen, but maybe in the series they might introduce the new Wonder Woman, like the new actress that plays Wonder Woman, probably like in the DCU. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but I do firmly believe the whole Justice League is gonna be recasted. I don't think Ezra is staying. Like like I think the whole like Justice League is getting recast, in my opinion. What do you think? Do you
I
think?
I I I think they should because you know me. I think they should kill off all the main pillars of the Snyderverse,
Yeah, for
and it's
real.
those Justice League members. Like once you kill them off, what's left? like
I,
what can you what can you hold on to at that point? The Viola Davis. I mean, they all should go. I like some of them. I wish Henry Cavill could have got a second chance as Superman, but you gotta go. You're attached to you are the main pillar of bad baggage. You gotta go.
yeah, and
Like
like
it is just what it is.
the only ones that I could see staying is some of the Suicide Squad members, like maybe John Cena could. Like I could see John Cena transferring back. And like I guess two or three members. I don't think Margot Robbie's gonna stay. Like that wouldn't make any sense because like I think they will introduce a new Harley Quinn and a new Joker, like in
They're
Brave.
definitely going to introduce a new Joker for sure. Harley, I have a feeling he might keep her since James Gunn does like her. He did. James Gunn did appear in a Harley Quinn TV show. Remember, he had an episode in there.
Yeah,
Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he keeps her.
I
I
feel
wouldn't be
like
shocked.
if
But
you're
there's going to be a
getting,
new Joker.
how old is Margot Robbie anyway?
She's like 30 something. I think she's late 30s. Let me get it up. She is 32. Okay, she's not that old.
She's not that old, so I guess like if he really wants to keep her, I guess I can deal with it. Like the only my main focus is if you just recast the Justice League, I guess I could deal with some cast keeping. Like I kind of did know that some Suicide Squad members will probably get stay. To be honest, you're muted.
I know I was typing something out.
Okay. If they kept like I do think this is why I think who's guest day. I think Margot Robbie, John Cena, um I think that's all to be honest. And Viola Davis, that's all. I really don't think it and the other members are guest day to be honest.
Yeah, and this is the thing too, because I don't know why people are crying so much about if John Cena stayed or Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, or like Amanda Waller. They're like DC side character. They're not. It's not to say they're not important, but like who?
Yeah, they're
Like I'm no huge Peacemaker fan, but I can care less if Peacemaker comes over. I mean, I don't hate the character. He wasn't bad, but like I can care less about that. I care more about how Flash is handled or a Batman is handled. But I can care less if Margot Robbie comes over. And now I can do without her. Same thing with Viola Davis and Amanda Waller. But people are like, remember when Angry Joe was doing that video ranting like, "You're getting rid of Henry Cavill, but you're gonna keep Peacemaker." Like, dude, it's not the same level. It's not. It's different levels.
And
And and people did not receive Henry Cavill the way they wanted to because he's playing a character that means a lot to a lot of people that people care about more. Peacemaker, I mean, John Cena and James Gunn brought Peacemaker to the mainstream again.
yeah, like
The comics didn't do that for him. James Gunn's the
exactly.
reason Peacemaker's on the Suicide Squad again, right? He's in
Yeah,
the
the
most recent
Suicide
comics.
Squad are a minor piece. It's like so what? Like he keeps a few cast members. It's like I don't really care to like the Suicide Squad are like kind of side characters if you think about it technically. Like
Yeah, they're like side character. They're not bad characters. Not saying they're nothing, but they are not. The concept of the Suicide Squad is something that's really cool, but the members are interchangeable. They change all the time. Might have one.
I do think they'll recast Deadshot. I do think that
Oh
Will
yeah,
Smith.
they're recasting him. Well,
What?
I think what they should do if James Gunn does want to continue Suicide Squad stuff, each film like interchange the villains, or whether it be from Wonder Woman's roster, Wonder Woman's rogues, Flash's rogues, Green Arrow's rogues, like always constantly keep changing the roster for each movie. And if they want to spin off projects based off how the villains are received and do like a villain show or a villain movie, do that, but change
It's
that
not.
roster every single movie. Keep Harley Quinn as consistently. Black Manta
Yeah.
is like a consistent member. Boomerang.
I hope they do keep Deadshot. Deadshot. Uh, I don't think like in my opinion, Will Smith ain't come back. I'm sorry, he ain't come back.
Yeah, he's not. Wait. You talking about? Wait, you want them to keep that? You talking about Deadshot or Bloodsport? Let me make that clear.
I'm talking about Deadshot and just
Okay, just
Deadshot.
making it clear. Yeah, I think
I
I want to see a Deadshot again.
I think they're gonna recast Deadshot and just do like change his outfit or make it like the New 52 outfit or something like that. But like, I'm sorry, Will Smith ain't coming back as Deadshot. I don't think though. Like stuff that happened is his career is on the flip side for some reason. Am I wrong? Like, do you think he'll come back as Deadshot?
Will Smith? No. I can see Idris Elba coming back.
Yeah, that's why I said they're probably gonna recast Deadshot. Like, it would make sense. And
They're gonna recast. They're recasting for sure. But I see, this is what I see. If anything, I see Idris Elba's Bloodsport. Well, no, because the way it ended. But it's a rebooted universe. But I can see Idris Elba's Bloodsport being a consistent leader of the team.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I'm saying like Deadshot, that Deadshot could appear in Brave and the Bold, or like in that Batman like the DCU in general. I'm just saying like he's gotta be recasted and probably be different. I would think it would be good.
Yeah,
But
he's gonna get recasted for sure.
yeah. Yeah, like I don't think a lot, I don't think a lot of Suicide Squad members are going to stay as people think they are. Like, you don't have you barely have anything. Like, um, I really want this, but it's probably not gonna happen. Um, I want, I kind of want King Shark to be changed a little bit. Like, King Shark's cool in the Suicide Squad members, but I want that scary King Shark in the comics.
The only thing I did not like about King Shark in the Suicide Squad was that he did not do enough action stuff. Like he had some cool kills, but most of the kills were spoiled in the trailer. He just didn't, like when they fought Starro and he just bit Starro's arm, and I'm like, that's it, okay, whatever. I liked him. I liked his story moments, but James Gunn knows he definitely could have done more with him, but he does that even with Groot. He underutilizes Groot. That is one of my issues with James Gunn with strong characters. So I hope he handles Superman right with his powers because he
Yeah.
takes a lot of OP characters and downplays them. Drax isn't OP, but we know he's strong enough to fight Thanos.
Yeah.
But and we know the MCU one is like tremendously downgraded compared to his comic counterpart. But I just hope he. I just don't want to see a weak King Shark again. That's all I don't want to see.
Yeah, yeah. Like I the thing with Drax, I'm not sure if he. I think he probably wanted Drax, but like you also have Kevin Feige in the position that is like, oh no, I don't want Drax, or like your character to do this, and you have to do this whole thing with, like I think there was a lot of variations with Drax when it comes to like um going against Thanos. If you understand what I mean, right? Because he could like James Gunn could have wanted it to happen, but like maybe the directors didn't want to do that.
Well, I think Kevin. I just think in general the MCU just when they got to Infinity War, they didn't position characters in the right places. Like remember in Infinity War, Drax was trying to kill Thanos for years because he's part of the reason his family died because Thanos ordered Ronin to go and kill Drax's people in his planet.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there was no moment in Endgame and Infinity War where Drax like had a moment with Thanos or tried to really, you had a moment where Tony and Thanos have their moment. You had a moment with Gamora and Thanos. You had some moments with Gamora and with Thanos and Nebula, but never one with Drax. I just think a lot of opportunities was wasted with certain characters that should have had moments with him. And that's just another reason why I don't like Drax. He's just he gets wasted. He was cool in Guardians 3, but other than that, he does get wasted a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But like I said, dude, I got faith in Gunn to really give us something.
I think they picked the right person. Like he has a plan, pure saffron. Like he knows the material. I think he has a plan.
And you remember when David Zaslav tried to ask Kevin Feige to come over to the it's all good, nerd man. Remember when he tried to ask Kevin Feige to come lead the DCU, which I thought was dumb.
Yeah.
But it makes sense why he got James Gunn, because James Gunn was literally there in the writer's room, in the fold, these meetings and stuff, helping Feige map out the universe. I mean, he's the one who created the Infinity. He didn't create the Infinity Stones, but he did the origin of it, which plays a lot into the whole saga. If you didn't explain the origin of the Infinity, that's why Guardians is one of the most important MCU movies. Literally sets up the Infinity Stones even more that we see in Infinity War that Thanos is chasing after. I mean, he knows the keys to success, right? Yeah, but what I like about Gunn is just look at the Suicide Squad, for example. It being R-rated definitely hurt its box office potential, but he did a totally different movie than what he usually does in the MCU. With the Guardians movies.
Oh yeah, that was totally different. Like it was very good movie as well. Like they gave him like a project, and like he like they're called the Suicide Squad member. I understand people are mad about Captain Boomerang, but like not every.
I was happy when Captain Boomerang died. Man, I was like, freak him.
But people have to understand not every character is gonna survive. On Task Force X, it's a suicide mission. That's why.
And that's what, because if you don't
Suicide Squad,
like there needs to be people that gotta die in a Suicide Squad content. Now, to be fair, there is some comics where they don't always kill the members because you just can't kill all Black Manta. Because you might come out with an Aquaman comic, and if they want to do Black Manta, I mean, you can't just kill them off. But they'll make sure to kill off characters that's not as relevant, but that's part of the appeal. They're the Suicide Squad. They're not supposed to. It's not supposed to be perfect every single mission. There has to be a fuck up. There has to be a character that tries to act out a term, and Waller, activates a bomb and kill him.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like, what's the point of the Suicide Squad at that point
Yeah,
if you don't do none of that?
yeah, you have to kill some people. Like I understand he's a good founding member on the Suicide Squad, but like you have to take risks. If you don't take risks, like dude, they do this in the comics as well. Like they killed Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad in one of the Suicide Squad comics. But it's not like he's the only Captain Boomerang. He has a son that took over the mantle of Captain Boomerang as well. So
Well, Arkham. Let me ask this since you brought it up. You haven't seen the movie yet. Yeah, I know you're gonna watch it.
yeah,
Honestly, and be very honest, how do you feel about the Flash movie? Really, how do you feel about the Flash movie not being about a simple standard Flash villain like a Captain Cold or a Mirror Master?
like I would have wanted it, but it makes sense why it's not right now because of the reboot. Because it's like, um, I don't think, um, because like yes, I would wanted a simple Flash movie, but at the same time, I don't want like this convoluted mess of a freaking continuity at the
Right.
same time, and it's like I think it's probably a great movie. You have Batman that relates to Barry Allen with the deaths of his parents, and you have Barry Allen's the death of his mother. And I feel like it was a good decision to bring Batman in the fold because they relate so much together of the tragedy they both faced. That's why I've always thought stuck that it
That's
was
actually
always
one of the most beautiful parts about the film. That dynamic.
yeah, and it's like in my opinion, like I didn't have a problem if Cyborg was in the movie, but I don't think he would have had that much of an impact as Batman is when it comes to tragedy itself.
Yeah. Because Cyborg's tragedy is more of like him being crippled. It's not that well, yeah, I can't say that part, but Cyborg would have not been as impactful as someone like a Batman, because it's not just the fact that Batman's parents died. It's more to it than that. You'll see what I'm talking about. That's why I want to talk about that shit with you guys. But it's not just the simple, oh, they just lost his uh parents. Well, it is, but the way they break it down, you go like, okay, I can see that how they relate at that point. You'll see.
Yeah,
It's really good how they take these two people in their situations and still compare them, because they are very comparable, even though two extremely different things happened. It's very comparable. It's full of heart. Real quick, I will say this. I'm gonna show you guys something. And I said this when I saw the trailer. Give me a minute.
did you see those Blue Beetle posters?
Yeah, I saw some people complain. I saw people complaining about the one on the left. I'm like, what's the problem? It looks fine. I actually like the second poster.
I'm not gonna lie, the poster these like I'm not gonna lie, the Flash posters and these posters have been amazing. They've been very
I think
good.
the Flash poster has been the best so far.
And the Blue Beetle posters are very good as well. But I want posters like that when it comes to Aquaman 2 as well. They have to up their game with posters with Aquaman.
This was so right here. The acting in this scene was also on point. This is probably my favorite scene in the movie. I'm not gonna give no more context, but this is my favorite scene in the movie. This shit was like, damn, Ezra Miller's acting, you guys. It was so freaking good in this scene. It's like this is probably gonna be one of y'all favorites, but this is probably my favorite scene of the whole movie. It's a really good scene. He acted his ass off in that scene.
Yeah, I can't wait for the movie. It comes out next week.
Wait, what day is the 16th again? That's a Friday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well I'll be seeing it again on the 12th. Wait, you didn't get the early IMAX screening
There was a early
for the 12th?
No.
Ah, shit. Well,
That's why I'm staying off Twitter.
all right, go watch it on the 15th, opening night. Go watch it on the 15th. You got the 15th to watch it early. That'll be your day to watch early. Go watch it on the 15th. I think James Gunn was just not the most inspired choice, but seeing Guardians 3 is not the worst choice. Yeah, I do. The only thing I'd say for sure about James Gunn with Superman Legacy, the villain has to be really good, because if I had any issues with James Gunn movies that are glaring issues, his first two movies, his villains wasn't good, but the High Evolutionary was probably the best villain he did out of all three of his movies. But Ego and Ronin, underwhelming. The Guardians was the best part about those movies, but the villains very underwhelming. But I just want to see what villains he's going to handle. Personally, hopefully he does like either Livewire, Lobo. Do you think Mongol would be good for a first Superman movie? I think it's like a second movie villain that you would do.
I would say either Lobo or for me it's either Lobo or probably Metallo or Brainiac. Not Brainiac. It's for me. It's Lobo. There's three options: Lobo, Metallo, or Parasite. Like I think between those three.
Parasite.
Or you can go a 100, 180 and do the third dimension being that Superman hates.
Oh, his biggest fan.
Yeah, like I would say that would be like
that would be okay. Hear me out. I would say no. Wait. They should do that as a special on Max, like an hour-long special of Superman versus
Mixie Picklix.
That's the type of stuff they got to do. Like with the MCU. Remember when they released that what's that thing? Werewolf by Night.
They don't have like the good thing about DC is Marvel.
They got to do those too, hour-long specials on Max.
They don't have those type of characters, those third dimensional beings. Like imagine Batman dealing with freaking Batman. Oh my god, he's like, get the fuck out of my fucking universe.
Yeah, that's why when they get fully fleshed out, and you don't even see this enough from the MCU, like do like crossovers with Batman and the Scooby-Doo gang again, Superman and Batman teaming up with on Max and stuff. Like just do more. Then live action ones too. Like have the actors come and do some specials and stuff, Christmas specials. Well, all this stuff still takes place in the universe, but it's adds to the story, and you just doing more to put the characters out there. Because growing up, like watching Scooby-Doo and Batman crossover, that just helped for the exposure of the characters, Batman and Robin and Scooby-Doo and Superman, and meeting the Scooby-Doo gang. Not saying it has to be Scooby-Doo specific, but all this stuff was special growing up as kids. You don't see stuff like that anymore with our superhero characters, not even the Marvel ones. Like I think the last time we seen Spider-Man do a Christmas special was in that Ultimate Spider-Man TV show.
Yeah, like I think we'll get more. I do agree with the cartoon. Like there's nothing wrong with I think we will get more cartoon animation and stuff like that. Just because of the deal with Amazon and also James Gunn. But like also in my opinion, I don't think there's anything wrong with the Tomorrowverse at the same time. Like I feel like people are hating for no reason. Like there's nothing wrong with freaking.
There's a part of me. I really hope Superman and Lois get another season, at least another season to finish up some stuff. Because Lex is only going to be in these last. I'm gonna be so mad if it doesn't get a season 4. Those are
It
barely
was.
going to get
They
any
did
legs.
say. They did say if it doesn't get renewed on CW, they're gonna do on
It
Max.
can get possibly put on Max.
Uh,
Hopefully, it gets taken over to Max because it's a HBO Max produced TV show, anyways.
yeah. What is your thoughts on the Tomorrowverse? Like, do you like those animation movies?
I like them. It's just they need to, because we talked about it yesterday. They need to really make those Max specials and really market them and promote them, because
I
I
agree.
think some of the recent DC animations since um I say before the Just League War, those DC animated movies was just they had better promotion and people do like those more than the ones starting at Just League War. But if they really promote those on Max, it's like new DC special movie, Superman, Just League War World. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
they really need to start doing that. They can't just keep releasing these straight to digital with no marketing. They need to really release them to digital, but market them. That's just the one thing with DC, and we talked about this earlier with the Flash, in Shazam. Market it. Treat every product like you care. You know, Agatha Harkness. I guarantee when that show comes out, it's going to get marketed like WandaVision did, and Loki, and even the big MCU movies,
I don't
because
even.
they wanted to do good. They wanted to do good. They want people to come
I don't
watch it.
even want to actually hard this show. Like,
I don't want an Agatha Harkness show. I think Agatha Harkness is shit. But hey, I'm not gonna watch it. But
I ain't watching that shit.
it's gonna be there for some MCU shills.
When what's it called? Are you going to do a review of the Superman cartoon that's going on Adult Swim on July 1st, I think, or 6th around there?
I'm thinking about doing reactions to it, or
I think
if
it looks. It looks
if I can finish my schedule, I might try and do reactions to it.
yeah, I might do like a review on Justice League War. That looks very cool. Like I'm not gonna lie, Justice League War looks freaking awesome. That trailer and everything, it was like a lot of people liked it. I'm interested in how it's get and like I feel like this is there's gonna be a second part of Justice League War because I don't think they could fit it all into one. I think it'll be like when I think it's gonna be similar to the old universe where you had Dark Side, but uh, you're you're still gonna do the lead up and shit like that. I think it would be that.
Well, I'm
Um,
waiting. I'm waiting to see how they're going to acknowledge. Because you remember they did this in the Justice League Warverse.
yeah,
Remember when they finally in Suicide Squad held to pay? They finally closed the loop and brought it together. That Reverse Flash was a Reverse Flash from the Flashpoint movie, and Barry started remembering that he did Flashpoint in Justice League Dark Apocalypse War.
yeah.
So I want to see when they're going to acknowledge that, because they haven't yet, which is fine. You got to build up the mystery again.
I like how this universe has a more build up. Like it might be taking a little longer, and I'm fine with that. But I like how certain my one positive thing like no matter the marketing um I would say this you have more characters have their own movies. Um you didn't have a Green Lantern movie in the old universe. No, you didn't have Sup- Superman. I don't think you had a Superman. Did you have?
But yeah, nah, they had a Superman movie. They wasted a lot of characters' movies. They didn't give Shazam a movie. They didn't do a Wonder Woman. Well, they did a Woman movie, but that one sucked. Bloodlines.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, Bloodlines sucked. Compared to the first animated Wonder Woman movie, that Bloodlines was such a downgrade, and the animation was it looked even more low budget.
And I really like I like just the Justice Society World War II. That was very good. Like
That
you
was
saw,
really good movie.
like I even liked Long Halloween Part 1, Part 2. That was good. Um, like the one thing I like about the Tomorrowverse is you have more build up and more characters getting their own movies. That's what I really like.
Yep.
Because we haven't gotten a Green Lantern anime movie in a long time, and this one was very, in my opinion, it was pretty good. And I don't understand why
Yeah, I
people.
mean, I wasn't a huge fan of them having to use Hal Jordan in that way, but I liked it still.
Yeah, I still liked it. So I'm probably get reviewer. So said DC promotes their DC Sundance.
That's facts.
DC promotes their
Oh,
DC one.
real quick, I'm gonna go watch the Transformers movie today, and because
Oh God, no.
I couldn't go yesterday because I was too tired. But
Don't get me wrong.
I'm not gonna spoil nothing. But I saw something on TikTok that just killed me. It was a post credit scene from the movie, and I was like, wow, they
How
really
much?
did that.
I just want to see how much people liked it. Was it called Transformers?
Rise of the Beast.
I have
It
to
has
see.
a 100% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, but I mean that's expected. A lot of people, the audience score and critic score always has a divide, one way or another.
Yeah, like that. That's why I'm not really worried about the critic score with Flash. It's like it is what it is. Like even Joker got a 60. Joker got a 60. It's like
69.
yeah, no, it got it. Did it get 69?
Yeah, 69%. I think the score is fine. It's just that it just depends how the reception is going to be as far as the money, because Joker got 69%. That's not a really good score, and it did 1 billion. It shocked all of us. It blew our minds because I didn't even expect that.
Yeah, even Aquaman got like didn't get a high score, and people thought was gonna get like amazing score.
But movie ended up doing 1 billion, which
Yeah,
even shocked me again.
yeah, Aquaman got 65. It's like I think like in my opinion, like yes, people critics have the right to criticize, but I think people take it too seriously, too hard. It's like it's just a score. Like it doesn't mean the movie's good or bad, or like it's just telling what they thought of it. Like um, that's really what it is. People like people think, oh, it's terrible because it has 69% or 72%.
Yeah,
Like even Zack Snyder Justice League got 70 around the 70 range with critics.
but yeah, as you see, a lot of people like Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, it just tells you like just I think people just need validate their own opinion. To be honest, it's like
Yeah, it's like I said, and I told you guys, I rarely look at Rotten Tomatoes. I don't look at IMDb. I really don't look at any review sites. I just like to converse with people, and once I see some horrible hot takes about certain movies that aren't good, and that's when I respond. But most of the reviews I watch is of people like us that we turn on a camera right in front of you guys. We review movies, talk about them. We try to be as honest as possible. Some people are good actors and they fake their reviews, but I like watching reviews like this where we're you guys see our faces, you see how we're conveying our emotions in the way we're talking to truly get something out of the review. I stopped like reading reviews. It's not that I hate reading, it's just you don't get the same type of engagement as someone who's reviewing something to you through a camera.
yeah,
And also some of those Rotten Tomatoes reviews have scarred me. I still can't get past that Venom review. I'm not sure if I told you about it. There's a lady, let me find it. You guys got to see what I see.
the Venom review.
Now this was an audience score review. This is not a official fan. Well, it was an audience score review, but it was just funny when I saw it because it blew my mind. So it was a lady who basically said, the movie is 5 stars because my kids liked it. 5 stars. Hold on. Oh, did you see that news about what those kids said about Thor 4
Oh
to
yeah,
Chris
we
Hemsworth?
talked about that.
We did.
Yeah, we did. I remember
Oh,
yesterday. I think yesterday or like when it was on here.
all right. Where is it? Where is it?
I'm interested when Venom 3's gonna come out.
I wonder what the they already wasted Carnage. I wonder who the villain's gonna be. They did Riot. They wasted Carnage. I mean, there's other symbiotes you can do, but you got to do something kind of different. It's pretty good. I mean, it's random. Yeah, I can't find a review, guys. It's probably down there, but it was a lady who came on here. She said, "My kids love the movie. 5 out of 5 stars." I was like, "Well, kids like anything. 5 out of 5 stars."
Okay, you have different symbiotes. So you already know the traditional ones. You have Carnage. Um, you have was it Venom? Let me see. I have to find. Yeah, here. I think it's right here. Different ones. I'm still trying to find it. Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's called the Secret. The Savage Six, I think it's called. And you have different. You also had You also have anti venom. Don't forget that. Um, you have
I only seen Anti Venom twice in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, and he was in the Edge of Time game.
yeah. Okay.
But doesn't Anti Venom fight all the can? It was fighting the cancer in Eddie Brock's body, right?
Yeah, I think so. So you have Carnage. You have You have Lasher. You have I don't know. Mr. E. I don't know what that is. You have Hybrid. That's like I are kind of orangish. You have you have Toxin. You have um Cro Croba. Um, that's like orangish and stuff like that. Like you have different versions. Like if I have to tell you the most powerful ones, you have Sleeper. There's actually one that's called Sleeper, a new symbiote spawn that possesses many abilities, including weapon generation, camouflage, concern, blah blah blah. You also have Mania. Mania is technically not a symbiote, but an entity undo itself. Mania up uh up gained something. You also have
Uh,
Silence.
you-
You have Silence. It's a poetic that screams that follows. Oh, I think we had that character in. Didn't we have that in the second movie? This
Screech. That
Screech. I guess yeah. I guess she didn't. Because this one has like um it has that scream and stuff like that. You have Scorn, a second spawn of Carnage. Scorn was left bonded to Doctor Tentis as a horrific pardon gift. Um, you also have the Life Foundation symbiote slash hybrid. So it's when Eddie Brock was captured by uh, Doomsday's obsessive life foundation and separated from his symbiote and grouped forcefully combined remove fire. I guess like kind of combined a hybrid version of himself. You have Scream, you have Anti Venom, you have Toxin, you have um and you have Carnage. Yeah. Oh, you have Grendel. Grendel. Okay, this one I think they can do. Grendel is a giant symbiote dragon. Imagine that, a giant symbiote dragon versus Venom.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie, that would sound funny. Or they could do Kano. Kano is an ancient and powerful entity of the god of symbiotes. They could do that. They could do Kano, or you could do Kano or Grendel. Like, you could do that because Kano is the god of symbiotes. It's Kate.
I
You can.
think I think the null thing, because we do got to get ready to head out in like 2 minutes. Uh, the null thing, because if you look at Thor 4, you know that sword Gore has? That's the
Yeah.
sword Null has, and technically those black things we saw was supposed to be symbiotes. I
Yeah.
think they not say that they wasted it, but if Sony does want to play ball some more, they can build that up and do Null God of the symbiotes and stuff.
Yeah. They could do
But I
that.
think since they already did that, made that choice in Thor 4 to use the Necrosword and make those things that's supposed to be symbiotes not symbiotes, they kind of wasted the appeal of that.
That was Marvel, not Sony.
Well, yeah, that's why I because mind you, it's the MCU, but if maybe they can rebuild it and do something with it, Sony can play ball again. But I don't think the MCU is going to try and do Null again since they already used the concept of it in Thor 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, hopefully we see someone like maybe Kano in the third movie. But that's my guess. Like, I don't know who they would get. I think if you're gonna end on the third movie, you have to end it very big. And I think Kano, the king of symbiotes, would be the way to go, in my opinion. But that's what I think. Like, yeah, are you excited for Summer Game Fest?
I'm actually about to yeah, that's why I'm about to close out so I can watch it real quick before I get some sleep.
Okay.
But you guys, I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you, Arkham, for coming on.
No problem.
Flash is coming out soon, guys. I'll be watching it again this Monday. I paid for my ticket, and I'll be watching it again. And hopefully, it might be during my cruise. I might do like a spoiler review stream with you guys, and we can all talk about it because I really want to talk about that movie with you guys. But we gotta head out. Thank y'all for Arkham for coming on. Do you want to plug your channel real quick? Let anybody know what you got going on for the next couple
Um, you can find me Arkham Unlimited. Changed my name, but today I'm gonna be doing a stream of Summer Game Fest very soon when it starts. Then I'm gonna do a big review of all my comics that I've read, and do a whole recommendation of what people should catch up on and read. But that I don't know the date for that yet, but it's gonna be a big live stream. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but yeah.
And hopefully I'll be there to watch it, or probably might be a part of it. Depends what time you do it. Big Bro, last thing we'll get his comment. Speaking of Thor loving trash, I saw Chris Kids said that the movie was trash. It wasn't his kids, but his kids' friends that said it. But still, getting roasted by 8-year-olds.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd be embarrassed because what can you really say? You can't really roast kids. Then this guy's gonna be embarrassing too, like roasting kids back. That's kind of embarrassing when kids say. And this is the last thing I'll say. What Taika Waititi said, and I hope you guys remember, he said the movie was written as if 5-year-olds wrote the movie. If 8-year-olds don't even like your movie that's written for 5-year-olds, I mean, shit. I don't know what you did, but you made a monstrosity. All right, guys, we're heading out of here. DC is the GOAT. DC is king. And catch y'all later. MCU is trash.
See ya.
Deuces.